I was taken aback by my mother-in-law's unexpected words. "I didn't expect you to afford such a place." "Well done, dear. We're more than happy to move in with you." My confusion deepened at her statement. "Excuse me," I interjected, feeling the need to clarify. "With this upgrade, I don't mind holding off on the divorce. Remember, I'm single now, Lucy, 35, working as a doctor at the Women's Health Clinic. My apartment, a comfortable 15-minute drive from work, accommodates not just me but also my husband, William, and his parents. My marriage to William commenced 5 years ago, accompanied by his condition that we live with his parents. Being an only child, I understood his familial obligations. Despite knowing this beforehand, I agreed wholeheartedly. Thus, when we tied the knot, we opted for a larger apartment, embracing life with his parents as part of our domestic arrangement. Initially, when we began our cohabitation, William's parents assured me, "As a doctor, Lucy, you're undoubtedly busy. Leave the household chores to us. Your father-in-law and I will handle everything else while you focus on your work." And true to their word, they diligently managed all cooking, cleaning, and domestic tasks, affording me the luxury of concentrating solely on my professional duties. I assumed William enjoyed the same privileges. However, our dynamic shifted dramatically 6 months later. Abruptly, William resigned from his job. Taken aback, I inquired, "What's prompted this decision? Why quit?" His response was startling. "I believe I've put in my fair share. I need a hiatus before embarking on a fresh start. Besides, even without my income, we won't struggle financially with yours." I countered, "But why such a significant decision without consulting me? You can't guarantee finding another job. What if something happens to me?" His reply was dismissive. "There's no need for pessimism. We have savings to fall back on." Attempting to reason, my mother-in-law intervened. "Now, Lucy, don't be too hard on him. William has toiled diligently thus far. A break is well deserved. Wouldn't you agree? You can compensate for his absence by working a bit harder." Stunned into silence, I pondered the unfairness of her suggestion. My workload was already demanding, and it seemed ludicrous to imply that I should bear the brunt of our financial responsibilities while William enjoyed a respite. After all, I too faced challenges. Upon hearing my retort, my mother-in-law's expression shifted abruptly. With raised eyebrows, she retorted, "Let me remind you, Lucy, you're not the sole one grappling with difficulties here. While you were at work, your father-in-law and I were tending to the household tasks alongside our own jobs without respite. If you insist on such talk, we'll cease our contributions to the household. From now on, you're on your own." Her words struck me dumb. With that declaration, my mother-in-law and William exited the room, heading to the living room to watch TV. Thus began my solitary struggle to juggle both household chores and my job. No one else would lift a finger to help. Takeout meals became a regular occurrence, likely to stave off hunger in their absence of cooking. However, their preferences leaned towards pricey options like sushi, leading to mounting demands for increased funds to cover food expenses. "Lucy, ensure there's enough money for our meals. Are you aiming to starve us?" they plead. Even when I urged restraint, my mother-in-law would counter, "How heartless to suggest scrimping on food when we're confined at home with no other indulgences. You're such a heartless person, neglecting your responsibilities to care for your in-laws." "Perhaps divorce is the answer," he declared. Exasperated, I relented, increasing the funds allotted for food, enabling my in-laws and William to indulge in whatever culinary desires they fancied. During a brief break from work, I dashed to a nearby gas station to pick up a few essentials. Upon reaching the counter for payment, I realized my card was missing and my wallet seemed lighter. Momentary confusion gripped me before I hurried home immediately after work. Bursting into the living room, I was met with the sight of a gleaming new television. "Welcome home, Lucy." "Back so soon," chimed in William, his voice laced with fond innocence. "Isn't it splendid, Lucy?" added my mother-in-law, their faces adorned with sinister smirks. "What's this? How did you manage to afford this?" I questioned, baffled by the sudden splurge. "We had savings, obviously." "Savings," came the casual reply. My mother-in-law seized the opportunity to chime in, her tone dripping with fond gratitude. "Oh, Lucy, we had no idea you were saving so diligently for us. You should have mentioned it sooner. With your dutiful contributions, we can now enjoy even more luxuries. You've finally proven your worth as a daughter-in-law." Spotting my card on the table, I exclaimed, "Wait, did you use my savings? And how did you obtain the PI?" Their response was dismissive. It's simple to deduce. After all, we're family, my mother-in-law asserted with a satisfied grin. Using William's birthday as the PIN shows your affection for him, she added, seemingly pleased with her deduction. I didn't choose the PIN with William in mind. It simply remained unchanged since our marriage, and my feelings towards William are not as they once were, I confessed. Unfazed, both my mother-in-law and William continued their audacious demands. You haven't fulfilled your duties as a daughter-in-law thus far. There's no need to make a fuss over this. Your obligation is clear. Hand over your savings to us quietly. We expect 3,000, no, 4,000 monthly from now on. Don't try to hide your earnings. Ensure we receive our fair share, they insisted. Incensed by their shameless demands, I snapped back. This isn't a joke. Why should my hard-earned money line your pockets? If you desire funds, earn them yourselves. This applies to you both, mother-in-law and father-in-law. Show some decency and consider household finances before attempting to extort from me. The room fell into a heavy silence, the weight of my words hanging in the air. Yet it took no time for my in-laws to retaliate. Such impertinence, daughter-in-law. Is that how you address your mother-in-law? We see no semblance of gratitude from you. What use is a daughter-in-law who only brings money? Your audacity is beyond belief. There's a line you've crossed, my father-in-law seethed. William, unable to contain his frustration, stormed off to his room, though he soon returned with a piece of paper in hand. Here, he thrust it towards me. It was a divorce decree. To my disbelief, not only was William's signature present, but also those of my in-laws as witnesses. File it if you dare, but be prepared to vacate this condo. Living with a stranger is out of the question. Unlike his wife, William is capable, my father-in-law declared sternly. Lucy will overlook your outburst as a momentary lapse. However, any further defiance will lead to your divorce, they jeered, their laughter filling the room. Anger boiled within me, but so did a glimmer of satisfaction. Yet now wasn't the time for retaliation. Suppressing my urge to lash out, I calmly stated, I'll begin moving my belongings and essentials before making my way to my room. My in-laws and William wore expressions of bewilderment. Did they believe I'd beg for forgiveness at the mere mention of divorce? How naive. The divorce papers, complete with signatures, served as a stark reminder of their intentions. Swiftly, I gathered my belongings and declared, I'm leaving. Don't expect me to come to your aid, even in times of trouble. With that, I departed our condo, the divorce papers securely in my possession, seeking refuge in a nearby business hotel for the night. Taking swift action, I canceled the card William had utilized online. Upon checking my balance, I discovered that the once plentiful account, boasting over $10,000, now contained a mere $3,000. Curiosity piqued, I pondered over their extravagant expenditures. However, my savings weren't limited to that account alone. As a precaution, I had sizable reserves in 2 other accounts linked to them. Though stunned to see $7,000 vanish, I deemed it a necessary sacrifice to sever ties with that family. The following day, I wasted no time and headed straight to the city office to submit the divorce papers. With a sense of relief, I watched as they were duly accepted. To assure the finality of the matter, I double-checked my family register certificate, confirming my newfound status as a divorced individual. At last, I had severed ties with that troublesome mother-son duo. While the urge to rejoice surged within me, I remained composed, knowing there were still tasks at hand. My next stop was a real estate agency, where I attended to 2 crucial matters. Firstly, I invested in a home of my own, utilizing the savings I had diligently accrued over the years. Through this process, I came to grasp the true significance of living life on my own terms. The realization dawned upon me that freedom was a precious commodity, one that could easily be compromised. I understood the importance of seizing opportunities promptly and asserting my autonomy without hesitation. I settled into my new single-story house, reveling in its spacious living room, practical kitchen, and a coveted walk-in closet, all mine. Determined to make it truly mine, I spent the day furnishing every nook and cranny, moving in whatever I could manage. The following 3 days were a whirlwind of shopping, acquiring essentials, and indulging in the thrill of creating my sanctuary. While the expense of replacing everything was significant, I deemed it a worthy investment for a fresh start. A few days later, as I sat down to dinner around 8 p.m., the doorbell interrupted my solitude. Curious as to who could be calling at such an hour, I glanced at the intercom screen to find a familiar sight. William, my former mother-in-law, and my former father-in-law. Almost a nostalgic scene. Anticipating their arrival, I approached the door and swung it open. Before I could utter a word, William launched into a tirade. What's the idea? Disappearing without a word? It's madness. His outburst prompted his parents to intervene, urging him to calm down. William, take a breath. We agreed to discuss this calmly later, remember? His mother interjected soothingly. Exactly. Look at this place, isn't it fantastic? It's far more spacious and inviting than our cramped condo, his father added, attempting to diffuse the tension. Despite my protests, they barged into my home without hesitation. Hold on, you can't just waltz in here uninvited, I objected, but my pleas fell on deaf ears. Enough. This is as much our place as yours. What's the harm in us visiting? William retorted, brushing aside my objections. With that, they proceeded to explore my home. The furniture isn't to my taste, but I must admit, the layout is quite decent. It might even be more comfortable than our current condo, his father remarked, surveying the space. I never imagined you could afford such a place. Well done, dear. We don't mind moving in with you, my mother-in-law remarked. Excuse me, we're informing you that we've approved this condo. We'll be residing here with you. Perhaps we can overlook your past transgressions. Though your conduct as a daughter-in-law has been supper, we acknowledge your gesture in securing this residence for us. Perhaps William will find it satisfactory. I suppose I can overlook this. If we can reside here, I don't mind remaining married to you, she continued. Excuse me, who's the wife and who's not getting divorced? I interjected, confused by their assertions. The room fell silent as the three exchanged puzzled glances. I'm not married, you know. I'm single, I clarified. Rather than showing astonishment, they seemed unable to comprehend my words. What nonsense are you spouting? Do you think you can escape the consequences of your disrespect? My father-in-law retorted. In response, I thrust the divorce certificate into William's stunned face, causing a visible shift in their demeanor. Lucy, how dare you take such action without consulting us? Do you expect forgiveness? My mother-in-law demanded. Yes, I do. After all, you provided it to me for that purpose, didn't you? I replied calmly. Lucy, how dare you take such action without consulting us? Do you expect forgiveness? She repeated, her tone growing more agitated. Forgiveness. Your names were clearly stated on the divorce notice, weren't they? Including your names implies a decision was made, doesn't it? You were the ones who initiated the divorce papers, weren't you? William explicitly instructed me to file them if possible, so I did. What's the issue? Upon my firm stance, the three fell silent, their faces flushed with embarrassment. Undeterred, I decided to push the matter further. Let's not forget, you're the ones who kicked me out. It appears you've conveniently overlooked the fact that the condo you currently inhabit is registered under my name. Now that we're estranged, I see no reason to uphold that agreement. Hence, I've terminated it. If you fail to vacate within a week, I'll have you forcibly removed from the premises, I declared. Their expressions quickly shifted from anger to shock, their faces draining of color. With determination, I executed my final move. Dialing a number on my phone, I addressed the receiver. Hello. I regret to inform you that there are trespassers in my home. Yes, 3 individuals who have forcefully entered my property. Please dispatch assistance immediately. The address is. I had summoned the police. As their protests rang in my ears, I remained resolute. Don't assume you can escape consequences. One of them exclaimed. What kind of daughter-in-law are you? It's appalling to involve the authorities in family matters. Remember this. Another added, their words a futile attempt to deflect accountability. With their parting remarks echoing in the air, each swiftly departed from my home. As I had repeatedly stated, I was indeed single. Finally, my battle had drawn to a close. I had braced myself for potential retaliation, expecting them to target me at the hospital where I worked. Surprisingly, they never materialized. Stubbornly, they remained in the apartment even after the expiration of the week-long eviction notice. Shortly thereafter, I received a call from the real estate agent. However, I promptly informed them, those individuals are complete strangers to me. Consequently, they were charged with trespassing and promptly dealt with by the authorities. Each was fined $1,000, but unsurprisingly, none could afford to pay. A relative from the countryside stepped in and settled the fines on their behalf. Subsequently, they were forcibly relocated to the countryside. It's likely that by now, they're toiling away on a farm, unpaid, under the watchful eye of their relative. For me, life is unfolding smoothly. Embracing my newfound independence, I've rediscovered the joys of living alone. After years of prioritizing others over myself, every day feels like a fresh start. Moving forward, I'm determined to savor each moment and seize the opportunities that come my way, ensuring that I make the most of this precious life.
The invitation arrived on a Tuesday, printed on cream colored cardstock that probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. My mother's perfect cursive spelled out family reunion dinner in shimmering gold ink. I almost deleted the photo my sister Cadence sent of it without reading the rest. My name is Ella, and until 3 years ago, I was supposed to be a lawyer. Now I'm a YouTuber with 2 million subscribers who investigates corporate corruption and social justice issues. My family hasn't quite forgiven me for that career pivot. You're actually going? Jordan asked, adjusting her camera setup in my home office. We were preparing to film a segment about wage theft at local restaurants. The last time you saw your family, your mom spent 20 minutes explaining how influencers are ruining society. While watching TikTok videos on her phone, I added, checking my makeup in the monitor. But this is different. Dad's turning 60 next month. Maybe they're finally ready to accept that I'm not going back to law school. Jordan snorted. Yeah, and maybe I'm secretly a duchess. The estate looked exactly as I remembered, a sprawling colonial that screamed old money and older judgments. Cadence's Tesla was already parked in the circular driveway, along with several other luxury vehicles I didn't recognize. Ella, darling, my mother Lucille's voice carried across the manicured lawn. She air kissed both my cheeks, her signature Chanel No. 5 overwhelming my senses. You look comfortable. I glanced down at my blazer and silk blouse. Thanks, Mom. Cadence just made partner at her firm, she said, steering me toward the house, and Franklin's been shortlisted for that judgeship he's been pursuing. That's great, I replied, noting how she'd already managed to work my sister's achievements into the first 30 seconds of conversation. My latest investigation hit 5 million views and helped secure back pay for over 300 workers. Oh, you're still doing those little videos? Inside, the house buzzed with more people than I expected for a simple family dinner. Aunts, uncles, cousins, and various family friends milled about, all dressed like they were attending a charity gala rather than a casual reunion. Baby sister! Cadence descended the main staircase like she was filming a scene for Dynasty, her designer dress probably worth more than my car. Her husband Franklin followed, wearing his usual smirk. We didn't think you'd come. Wouldn't miss it, I said, accepting her too tight hug, though I'm surprised to see the whole extended family here for dinner. Father insisted, she replied smoothly. You know how he is about legacy and family unity. Speaking of father, Edmund Stanley appeared at my elbow, martini in hand. Ella, good of you to join us. He cleared his throat. I trust you're being careful with those online exposés of yours. Wouldn't want any legal complications. Don't worry, Dad, I have excellent lawyers. I didn't mention they were the same ones who'd helped me take down that corrupt councilman last month. Dinner was a carefully choreographed affair. I noticed immediately that I'd been seated at the center of the long table, with family members arranged around me in concentric circles like some sort of tribunal. My mother's makeup was camera ready, and she kept glancing at her watch. The first warning bell rang when I spotted my cousin recording everything on his phone. The second came when I noticed a projector screen had been quietly set up behind the dessert table. My mother stood, tapping her wine glass with a silver spoon. The room fell silent except for the subtle clicks of several phones switching to video mode. We're all here tonight, she began, her voice trembling with rehearsed emotion, because we love you, Ella. My stomach dropped as the projector hummed to life. In my peripheral vision, I caught Jordan, who I'd invited as my plus one, discreetly pressing something on her phone under the table. This is an intervention, my mother continued, tears glistening perfectly in her eyes, because we cannot stand by and watch you destroy yourself and our family's reputation any longer. The screen behind her flickered to life, displaying a carefully edited montage of my most controversial videos, stripped of context and crafted to paint me as an unstable attention seeker. As my sister stood to deliver what was clearly a prepared speech, I felt a strange calm settle over me. They thought they were staging an intervention to save their reputation. They had no idea they were about to star in their own takedown video. Cadence's heels clicked against the hardwood floor as she circled the table like a prosecutor approaching a witness stand. We've watched with growing concern as you've thrown away everything we've given you, she began, her voice dripping with practiced concern. A prestigious law school acceptance, connections, opportunities. I kept my face neutral, though my hands trembled slightly under the table. The projector continued cycling through cherry picked clips of my videos, moments taken out of context, edited to make my passionate reporting look unhinged. Your behavior has become increasingly erratic, my mother chimed in, dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Attacking respected business leaders, encouraging civil disobedience. You mean exposing wage theft and corruption? I interrupted, my voice steady, despite the growing knot in my stomach. Franklin leaned forward, his corporate lawyer smile firmly in place. Ella, please, let your family speak. We're here to help. Around the table, phones continued recording. Aunt Margaret shook her head sadly. Uncle Robert looked away, suddenly fascinated by his wine glass. My cousin Tracy actually smirked. Your latest video about that development project, Cadence continued, was particularly concerning. Do you realize you could be sued? I caught Jordan's eye across the table. She gave me the tiniest nod, confirmation that everything was being captured on our live stream. That development project, I replied carefully, was built on illegally seized land. The evidence is irrefutable. Evidence? My father scoffed. YouTube views and social media likes aren't evidence, Ella. They're attention seeking. The projector switched to a new slide, screenshots of comments from my videos. They'd cherry picked the negative ones, the trolls, the threats. Of course, they'd ignored the thousands of supportive messages, the testimonials from people I'd helped. We've consulted with Dr. Harrison, my mother said, gesturing to a distinguished looking man I'd never seen before. He specializes in social media addiction and personality disorders. The doctor cleared his throat. Based on what your family has shared, I'm deeply concerned about patterns of grandiose thinking and attention seeking behavior. Interesting, I cut in. Considering you've never met me or had a single session with me, is it ethical to diagnose someone based on edited video clips? A murmur rippled through the assembled guests. Dr. Harrison shifted uncomfortably. This is exactly the kind of hostile deflection we're talking about. Cadence pressed on. You're not well, Ella. You need help, professional help. We've already made arrangements with a private facility. A facility? I laughed, though there was no humor in it. You're trying to have me committed? It's a wellness retreat, my mother interjected quickly. Very exclusive, very discreet. Where I can be hidden away until I agree to live life your way. I stood slowly, my chair scraping against the floor. This isn't an intervention. It's an ambush. Sit down, my father ordered. You're making a scene. No, you all made the scene. I pulled out my phone, turning it to show the screen, and you made it in front of my entire audience. The color drained from Cadence's face as she saw the live viewer count 47,892 and climbing. Turn that off immediately, my mother hissed. Why? I asked, my voice carrying clearly for both the in person audience and my viewers. Aren't you proud of this performance? The coordinated speeches, the edited videos, the paid doctor? You put so much effort into it. Franklin stood abruptly. This is private family business. You have no right. Private? I scrolled through my phone, like these emails I received showing you've been planning this for months, coaching everyone on what to say, hiring a PR firm to manage the fallout. You're proving our point, Cadence snapped, but her perfect composure was cracking. This obsession with exposing people, with turning everything into content. You wanted to expose me, I replied calmly. To shame me publicly in front of family and friends. But you forgot something important about public shame, sister dear. It works both ways. The live stream chat was exploding. Comments flooded in, condemning my family's behavior, sharing similar stories of toxic relatives, expressing support. If you don't stop recording right now, Cadence leaned in close, her voice a venomous whisper. You have no idea what you're bringing down on yourself. I met her gaze steadily. Actually, I do. I learned from the best after all. You taught me everything I know about destroying someone's reputation. The only difference is I do it to people who deserve it. The first guest stood up and walked out, then another. The carefully orchestrated intervention was unraveling, and my family knew it, but this was just the beginning. They wanted to break me down. I was about to show them exactly what it meant to go viral. This is disgusting, announced Mrs. Swanson, my mother's oldest friend, as she gathered her designer purse. I was told this was an intervention for drug abuse, not whatever this circus is. My mother's perfectly composed facade cracked slightly. Cynthia, please, save it, Lucille. I've watched every one of Ella's videos. She's doing important work, and you're all trying to gaslight her. Mrs. Swanson turned to me. Keep exposing the truth, dear. Some of us actually respect that. The live stream chat exploded with praise for Mrs. Swanson as she walked out. My phone buzzed continuously with notifications, shares, comments, and messages of support pouring in faster than I could process them. Turn it off, my father demanded, his face reddening. Turn that damn stream off right now. Or what? I challenged. You'll send me to my room without dinner? I'm 30 years old, Dad. Your threats don't work anymore. Jordan stood up, camera in hand, capturing everything from a different angle. The backup files are already uploaded and secured, by the way, just in case anyone's thinking about trying to delete anything. Franklin pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. I'm calling our attorney. This is a violation of privacy laws. Actually, I interrupted, Connecticut is a one party consent state for recording. I'm one of the parties present, and I consent. But please, call your lawyer. I'm sure he'd love to hear how you tried to have me involuntarily committed based on a diagnosis from a doctor who never treated me. More guests began filtering out, murmuring among themselves. The carefully orchestrated intervention was dissolving into chaos. My mother had stopped dabbing her eyes with her handkerchief, her mascara now slightly smeared as real tears threatened to fall. You ungrateful little. Cadence grabbed my arm, pulling me aside. Do you have any idea what you're doing to this family? Showing them exactly who they are? I yanked my arm free. Or are you worried about what else might come out if people start digging? Something flickered in her eyes. Fear, maybe. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't actually, but her reaction told me there was definitely something worth investigating. The hired doctor had already slipped out, probably worried about his medical license. My father was on the phone with someone, speaking in harsh whispers. The remaining guests huddled in small groups, smartphones out, probably already checking social media for the fallout. This ends now, my mother announced, approaching with her own phone out. I'm calling the police. Jordan laughed. To report what? That your daughter recorded you trying to publicly humiliate her? Please do. I'm sure the officers would love to see the evidence of premeditation we've collected. My mother's hand shook as she lowered her phone. You want war? Cadence hissed in my ear. You have no idea what you're bringing down on yourself. We will bury you. I turned to face her, making sure the camera caught her expression. No, sister dear. You already tried to bury me. Now I'm rising from the grave you dug, and I'm bringing receipts. What's happening? Tracy asked, staring at her phone. Ella's trending on Twitter. Franklin grabbed his wife's arm. We're leaving, now, before this gets any worse. Worse? I called after them. Oh, it's definitely getting worse. You might want to check your email later. I hear some interesting documents are making the rounds. You're bluffing, Cadence said, but her voice wavered. Am I? Remember what you taught me about keeping evidence just in case? I learned that from watching you destroy your law school rivals. The remaining guests quickly made their excuses and fled, leaving just my immediate family and Jordan. My father finally ended his phone call and approached, his face ashen. The board of directors is already calling, he said to no one in particular. This is going viral. That's what happens when you try to weaponize shame, I replied, gathering my things. Sometimes it backfires. Please. My mother tried one last time. We can take this down. Pretend it never happened. Like you pretended I never existed for 3 years? I headed for the door, Jordan right behind me. Too late. The internet never forgets. As we reached my car, Jordan checked her phone and whistled. 500,000 viewers, and someone just sent a very interesting tip about cadence in your Harvard application from years ago. I started the engine, my hands finally allowing themselves to shake now that we were alone. Send it to my secure email. Something tells me we're just scratching the surface of what my perfect sister has been hiding. The notifications kept coming as we drove away from my childhood home. Behind us, the carefully constructed facade of my family's reputation was already beginning to crumble, and I was just getting started. Holy shit, Jordan said, scrolling through her laptop. These emails between your mom and Cadence. They've been planning this takedown for months. We were holed up in my home office, monitoring the fallout from last night. My live stream had hit 2 million views and was still climbing. Just toxic family intervention was trending. Look at this one. Jordan turned the screen toward me. We need to make sure the narrative portrays her as unstable rather than rebellious. Rebellious can be admired, unstable will destroy her credibility. My phone buzzed. Rachel, my media contact, calling for the third time today. I finally picked up. Please tell me you're ready to go on record, she said without preamble. This story is explosive. I'm sending you something better than a quote, I replied. Check your email in 5 minutes. Full documentation of how they planned everything, including payments to that doctor who tried to diagnose me without ever meeting me. Jesus, Rachel breathed. That's highly unethical. His medical board will want to see this. A notification popped up on my screen. A direct message from Ross, the councilman I'd exposed last month for taking bribes. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? He wrote. For what it's worth, your reporting on me was accurate. I deserved it. This, though? This is just cruel. Let me know if you need a statement about your credibility and methods. Jordan suddenly sat up straighter. Ella, you need to see this. I found financial records showing your mom hired Preston and Associates 3 months ago. The PR firm? What for? To, and I quote, manage public perception and contain potential reputational damage. They paid $50,000 for a 3 month campaign. I leaned back in my chair, letting that sink in. They spent 50 grand trying to destroy me? Wait, there's more. Jordan's fingers flew across the keyboard. They also hired a private investigator to dig into your life, your friends, your sources. Amateur move, I muttered. They should know by now I don't publish anything without bulletproof documentation. My phone buzzed again, a text from Mrs. Swanson. Your mother just tried to have me removed from the hospital board for supporting you. I recorded the conversation. Want it? They're imploding, Jordan observed, watching the social media trends. Your sister's law firm is getting flooded with comments. Their Yelp page is a war zone. I was about to respond when an email notification caught my eye. The sender was anonymous, but the subject line made my heart stop. Harvard Acceptance, Class of 2011. What is it? Jordan asked, noticing my expression. With slightly shaking hands, I opened the attachment. It was a scanned letter dated 12 years ago with the Harvard University letterhead. Dear Miss Stanley, we are pleased to inform you of your acceptance. That's impossible, I whispered. I never got an acceptance letter. They rejected me. Keep reading, Jordan urged. Below the scanned letter was a chain of emails. My sister's name jumped out immediately, along with a former admissions officer's. The exchange was brief but devastating. As requested, we've processed the withdrawal of application for Ella Stanley. Please confirm this meets your father's requirements for the donation arrangement. My phone rang. Cadence. After 4 rings, I answered, but said nothing. Whatever you think you found? She started, her voice tense. It's not what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like you and Dad conspired to withdraw my Harvard acceptance so you wouldn't have to compete with me there. A long pause. You were always the golden child, she finally said. Perfect grades, everyone's favorite, Dad's precious prodigy. I had to do something to level the playing field. By stealing my future? Oh, please, she scoffed, but I heard the tremor in her voice. You got into other schools. You still became a lawyer. Well, almost. You know what's interesting? I kept my voice steady. I bet the Bar Association would have some thoughts about an attorney who committed fraud to gain admission advantages. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I ended the call and turned to Jordan. How fast can you put together a video about long term family betrayal? Keep it vague, but emotional. Let's see how many people connect the dots. On it, she said, already opening her editing software. What about these Harvard documents? I stared at the evidence of my sister's betrayal, years of wondering and self doubt suddenly crystallizing into cold clarity. Hold them for now, I decided. Let's see how they handle the first wave of exposure before we drop the nuclear option. My phone lit up with another text. Rachel again. Story goes live in an hour. Sure you're ready for this? I thought about my sister's words from all those years ago, the ones that echoed through my mind every time I doubted myself. Face it, Ella, you're just not Harvard material. I'm ready, I texted back. Time to show them exactly what I'm made of. Welcome back to my channel. I spoke directly into the camera, keeping my voice steady. Today's video is different. It's about family, betrayal, and the lies we tell ourselves about why we weren't good enough. Jordan gave me a thumbs up from behind the camera. We'd spent hours getting the lighting and tone perfect for this video. 12 years ago, I thought I wasn't good enough for my dream school. I believed I'd failed. That belief shaped every decision I made after, including joining a law school I never wanted to attend. My phone buzzed. Cadence again. I declined the call. But here's the thing about lies, I continued. They leave paper trails, they leave witnesses, and eventually, they come to light. The video was barely live for 10 minutes before the comments started flooding in. Wait, is this about Harvard? OMG, did her sister actually sabotage her acceptance? No wonder she left law school. It was never her choice to begin with. My phone rang again. This time it was Franklin. Take down the video, he demanded without greeting. Cadence is having a panic attack. Funny how that works, I replied. I had plenty of those thinking I wasn't good enough for Harvard. This could ruin her career. Like she ruined my chance at my dream school? Tell her to keep watching. This is just the preview. I hung up and turned to Jordan. How's the response? Explosive. Rachel's article just dropped too. It's already being picked up by other outlets. My email pinged, a message from the Harvard admissions office. Dear Ms. Stanley, regarding your inquiry about your 2011 application. Another call, my father this time. I let it go to voicemail. You've really done it now, his message played. Your sister is in tears. Your mother can't stop vomiting. Is this what you wanted? To destroy your family? Rich coming from the man who paid to have your Harvard acceptance killed, Jordan muttered. My phone lit up with a text from Mrs. Swanson. Your mother just called me sobbing, begging me to help contain this. I told her she should have thought about consequences before trying to institutionalize you. The live stream comments kept coming. This explains so much about the intervention. They tried to commit her because she was exposing corruption, just like they did to her. Someone check on the sister. Her law firm's website is down. Ella, Jordan called out, you need to see this. She turned her screen to show me a hastily posted statement from Cadence's law firm. We are aware of the allegations circulating online and are conducting an internal review. My phone buzzed with another text, an unknown number. This is Margaret from Harvard Alumni Affairs. That withdrawal request from 2011 wasn't the only irregular admission incident involving your sister. Before I could process that, my mother's name flashed on my phone. Against my better judgment, I answered, What do you want? Please, she sobbed, her voice raw. Please stop this. We can fix this. We can get you into Harvard now. Your father has connections. Still trying to control the narrative, Mom? It's too late. The truth is already out there. You don't understand what this will do to us, to our reputation. Actually, I do. That's the point. I ended the call and turned back to the camera. Time to film, part 2. You know what's interesting about family secrets? I began. They're like dominoes. Once one falls, they all start tumbling down. Jordan's eyes widened as she read something on her screen. Ella, someone just sent proof that Cadence's LSAT scores were altered before being submitted to law schools. My phone lit up again, Rachel calling. Tell me you're seeing this, she said when I answered. 3 other students from your sister's year are coming forward about suspicious admission circumstances. This is bigger than just your acceptance. I thought about all the years I'd spent doubting myself, believing I wasn't good enough, while my sister built her perfect life on a foundation of lies. What's our next move? Jordan asked, camera still rolling. I looked directly into the lens, knowing Cadence would be watching. When I started this channel, I promised to expose corruption wherever I found it. I never thought I'd find it in my own family, but here we are. I took a deep breath, and I'm just getting started. The view count ticked up. The comments poured in, and somewhere across town, my sister's carefully constructed world was crumbling one revelation at a time. Sometimes karma needs a little help going viral. Breaking news, the anchor announced. Rising social media star Ella's viral expose of her family's attempted intervention has taken an unexpected turn as evidence emerges of long-term academic fraud. I muted the TV and turned to Rachel, who was reviewing documents spread across my dining room table. 3 more students have come forward, she said. all claiming they were mysteriously waitlisted at top law schools the same year Cadence got accepted. My phone buzzed with a text from Franklin's law firm. Due to recent events, we regret to inform you that your sister has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Ella! Jordan burst into the room, laptop in hand. You need to see this. Someone leaked your family's group chat from the past year. The screenshots were damning. My mother, writing, she's becoming a liability. Her latest investigation is getting too close to people we know. Cadence responding, leave it to me. I know exactly how to discredit her. A knock at my door made us all jump. Through the peephole, I saw my father standing there, alone and looking decidedly unput together. Should I call security? Jordan asked, reaching for her phone. No, I said, opening the door. Let's hear what he has to say. My father looked older than I'd ever seen him. His tie was loose, his usually perfect hair disheveled. Can we talk? Just talk. I let him in, but kept Jordan and Rachel as witnesses. Your sister? He began, then stopped, swallowed. Cadence has been admitted to the hospital. Anxiety attack. Your mother hasn't left her bed in 3 days. That sounds like a them problem, I replied coldly. You're still family, he pleaded. Despite everything, we can fix this. Make it go away. Make it go away? I laughed. Like you made my Harvard acceptance go away? Or like you tried to make me go away to that wellness facility? He flinched. I never knew about Harvard. That was between your sister and. Stop lying! I slammed my hand on the table. I have the receipts, Dad. The donation you made to Harvard the same week my application was withdrawn. The strings you pulled to get Cadence's LSAT scores altered. His face went ash gray. How did you? I'm an investigative journalist. It's what I do. Maybe if you'd actually watched any of my little videos, you'd have known that. My phone pinged. A message from Ross, the councilman I'd exposed. Just got a call from your sister's firm. They're launching a full audit of all cases she handled. This is bigger than family drama now. Your sister's entire career is falling apart, my father said quietly. Is that what you wanted? No, Dad. I wanted the truth. Cadence is facing consequences for her own actions. There's a difference. Please. He tried one last time. You're still my daughter. Am I? Because the last week you were ready to have me committed for damaging the family reputation. Now look where we are. Jordan's laptop chimed. Ella, Cadence's law firm just released another statement. They're cooperating with the Bar Association's investigation. My father sank into a chair, head in his hands. Everything we built was built on lies, I finished, and now everyone knows it. Rachel's phone buzzed. Major network wants an exclusive interview. They're offering prime time. Tell them yes, I said, not taking my eyes off my father. It's time everyone heard the full story. You'll destroy us completely, he whispered. No, Dad, you did that yourselves. I'm just shining a light on the wreckage. He stood slowly, straightening his tie in a futile attempt to regain composure. Your mother was right. We should have stopped you years ago before you learned to ask questions. But you didn't, and now I'm really good at asking questions and finding answers. As he reached the door, he turned back. You know there's no coming back from this, right? No family dinners, no holidays, no reconciliation. I thought about the years of manipulation, the stolen opportunities, the attempted intervention. Good, because I don't want to come back. I want to move forward without any of you. After he left, Jordan pulled up the latest social media statistics. My subscriber count had doubled. Justice for Ella was trending nationwide. The video about family betrayal had gone viral in 17 countries. You okay? Rachel asked softly. I looked at my phone, dozens of messages from people sharing similar stories of family betrayal and manipulation, people who felt seen, heard, validated by my story. Yeah, I said, picking up my camera. I'm ready to film the next part. People need to know they're not alone in standing up to toxic families. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't the family you deserve. And sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's living well and telling the truth, no matter who it hurts. So, Ella, the interviewer leaned forward, her expression perfectly calibrated for primetime empathy. Take us back to that moment when you realized your family was staging an intervention. The studio lights were hot, but I stayed cool. This wasn't my first time in front of cameras, after all. Just my first time on national television. I think part of me always knew something was coming, I replied. When people spend years trying to control your narrative, you develop a sixth sense for their tactics. And the live stream? That was planned? Let's just say I learned from experience to always have receipts. The interviewer pulled up a screenshot from the intervention. Your sister Cadence appears to be leading the charge here. What was going through your mind? Honestly, I was thinking about all the times she'd told me I wasn't good enough, how she'd always positioned herself as the successful one, the responsible one. Now we know why. My phone buzzed in my pocket, probably another cease and desist from Franklin's law firm. I'd received 6 in the past week. The Harvard revelation has sent shockwaves through the academic community, the interviewer continued. Multiple investigations have been launched. What do you say to people who think you went too far in exposing this? I say corruption doesn't deserve protection just because it wears designer suits and calls itself family. The interview continued, each question more pointed than the last. I answered them all, calm and collected, while the evidence spoke for itself on the screens behind us. Halfway through, Jordan, watching from the wings, gave me a thumbs up. Social media was exploding with support. Your mother released a statement this morning, the interviewer said, pulling out a card. Would you like to hear it? Sure, I replied, though my stomach tightened. My daughter's actions have deeply wounded our family. While we may have made mistakes in our approach to helping her, her vindictive response has caused irreparable harm. We pray she finds peace and returns to the values we raised her with. I couldn't help but laugh. The values they raised me with? Like lying about academic credentials, or hiring doctors to diagnose people they've never met. Those values? Strong words, the interviewer noted. Truth usually is. After the interview, my phone lit up with a text from Rachel. You're trending in 32 countries. This is bigger than anything I've ever seen. Jordan met me in the green room, tablet in hand. Cadence's law firm just announced a full internal audit of all cases she handled in the past 5 years. They're worried about potential fraud in other areas. How's she taking it? According to social media, she hasn't left her house in days. The press is camping outside. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. When I answered, a familiar voice spoke. Ms. Stanley, this is Dean Roberts from Harvard Law. We've reviewed the evidence you provided about your sister's admission and yours. We'd like to offer you a full scholarship to attend if you're interested. I took a deep breath. Thank you, but no. That dream belonged to a different version of me. I'm exactly where I need to be now. After hanging up, I turned to Jordan. Ready to film the follow-up video? She nodded, setting up the camera. What's the angle? Truth, I said, sitting down in front of the lens. About how family secrets don't protect anyone, about how the truth might hurt, but lies destroy. The red light blinked on. I looked directly into the camera, speaking to everyone who'd ever been told to stay quiet for the family's sake. A week ago, my family tried to silence me with shame. They thought they could bury the truth under fancy words and fake concern. Instead, they taught me my most important lesson yet. Sometimes the people who claim to protect you are the ones you need protection from. My phone buzzed again, a text from Mrs. Swanson. Your mother just resigned from 3 charity boards. Cadence's country club membership has been suspended. Karma really is something, isn't it? I continued speaking to the camera. To everyone watching who's been told to keep family secrets, who's been manipulated into silence, who's been made to feel crazy for telling the truth, this is for you. Your story matters. Your truth matters. Jordan signaled that we were trending again. They staged an intervention to break me, I concluded. Instead, they freed me, and now I'm helping free others. The red light blinked off. In the silence that followed, I checked my notifications one last time. A final message from my father. I hope you're satisfied with what you've done. I typed back a simple response. I am. Are you satisfied with what you did? He never replied. He didn't need to. The truth was already out there, doing what truth does best, setting people free. Ready to go live? Jordan asked, adjusting the lighting in our new studio space. Almost. I smoothed down my blazer and checked the monitor one last time. The set behind me was simple but professional, a far cry from the bedroom backdrop where I'd started my channel. Today's live stream would be different, special. The subscriber count on the screen ticked past 5 million as viewers poured in. 30 seconds, Jordan called out. My phone buzzed. Rachel texting. Bar Association's decision just came down. Want me to tell you, or should you find out live with everyone else? Save it, I replied. Let's keep it authentic. The red light blinked on. Comments immediately started flooding the chat. Welcome, everyone, I began. Today marks the launch of Family Unfiltered, a new series dedicated to helping people recognize and escape toxic family dynamics. And we're starting with some breaking news. Jordan handed me her tablet, displaying the Bar Association's official statement. My hands didn't shake as I read it. Following a comprehensive investigation into academic and professional misconduct, Cadence Stanley Lowe has been disbarred, effective immediately. The chat exploded. I continued reading. Additionally, Franklin Lowe faces disciplinary action for his role in attempting to suppress evidence of misconduct. The law firm of Preston and Mitchell has announced both partners' immediate resignation. A notification popped up, Mrs. Swanson sending a champagne emoji. Below it, a message from Ross. Justice served. Keep fighting the good fight. But this isn't about celebration, I said to the camera. This is about consequences, about truth, about. The studio door opened. Jordan spun around, ready to stop any interruption, but froze when she saw who it was. My mother stood in the doorway, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. No designer outfit today, no perfect makeup, just a woman facing the ruins of her carefully constructed facade. Keep rolling, I whispered to Jordan, then turned to my mother. This is a private live stream. How did you get in? Security let me up. I told them I'm your mother. That doesn't mean what you think it means anymore. She nodded, wringing her hands. I know. I needed to say something. To you and to them. She gestured at the camera. I studied her face for any sign of manipulation. Found none. The floor is yours. She stepped into frame. The chat went wild. I failed you, she said simply. Not just with the intervention, not just with Harvard. I failed you every time I chose appearances over truth. Every time I let Cadence's lies stand because they fit the narrative I wanted. Why now? I asked. Why admit this now? Because I watched your videos, all of them, not just the ones about us, the ones where you expose corruption, where you help people find justice. You became everything I pretended to be, someone who actually makes a difference. The viewer count hit record numbers. Everyone watching history unfold. That doesn't fix anything, I said quietly. No, she agreed. Nothing can fix what we did, but maybe. She paused, pulling out an envelope. Maybe this can help others. She handed it to me. Inside was a check with a lot of zeros, made out to my new foundation for helping victims of family abuse. It's everything I have, she said. My separate accounts, my inheritance, my jewelry fund. Use it to help people escape what we tried to do to you. I looked at the check, then at her. This doesn't earn you forgiveness. I know. I'm not asking for that. I'm just trying to put something right in the world, like you do. The chat was going crazy. Jordan's eyes were wide. This wasn't how anyone expected today to go. I turned back to the camera. Sometimes healing doesn't look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like boundaries, like consequences, like truth. And sometimes it looks like watching your abusers finally face themselves. My mother nodded once and turned to leave. Mom? I called after her. She paused. Thank you for the donation. The foundation will put it to good use. After she left, I faced the camera again. And that, everyone, is how we're starting Family Unfiltered. Real stories, real consequences, real change. The notifications kept coming. Stories poured in from viewers sharing their own experiences, their own victories, their own healing. Jordan wiped her eyes behind the camera. That was perfect, I finished. That was exactly what this series needed to be about. Not revenge, not destruction, but transformation. I picked up the check, enough money to help hundreds of people escape toxic situations. My mother's final attempt at control had become a tool for liberation. Ready for the next segment? Jordan asked. I smiled at the camera. Always, because there are more stories to tell, more truth to uncover, and more people to help find their voice. They tried to silence me. Instead, they gave me a megaphone, and I was going to use it.
The worst betrayals always come wrapped in smiles. My mother's smile that morning was particularly radiant as she slid the thick manila envelope across her antique mahogany dining table. "It's just a formality, darling," she said, perfectly manicured fingers drumming on the envelope. "Every respectable family has one. I'm Sylvia, and 3 weeks before what should have been my dream wedding, I stared at what would become my nightmare. A prenuptial agreement. Not just any prenup. 40 pages of legal jargon designed to strip me of everything I'd built. "You can't be serious," I said, flipping through the pages. My hands trembled as I reached the clause about my business. "This says I have to transfer ownership of my boutique to a family trust?" Leonard, my fiancé, reached for my hand. I pulled away. "Baby, it's for protection. Your fashion thing is cute, but we need to think about our future, the family's future." My fashion thing? The boutique I'd built from scratch, the one that was finally turning a profit? "You mean my company?" My sister Valentina snickered from her perch by the window. "Come on, Sylvia. It's not exactly Gucci. You sell dresses online. That's hardly an empire. Not everyone can marry rich on their first try," I shot back. Valentina's face darkened. Her divorce was still a sore spot. "Girls," our mother Isabella warned, but her eyes were fixed on me. "Sylvia, darling, Leonard comes from a prestigious family. They have assets to protect. This is perfectly normal." "Normal?" I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood. "Having me sign away my company 3 weeks before the wedding is normal?" Leonard's charm slipped for a moment. "If you're so confident in your business, why are you afraid to sign?" "Because it's mine." My voice cracked. "Everything in here is about control. My company, my earnings, my decisions, all of it going to your family trust." "You're being dramatic," Valentina said. "This is what successful people do." "No." I gathered the papers and dropped them back in the envelope. "This is what controlling people do." "Sylvia." My mother's voice carried that familiar warning tone, the one that meant I was stepping out of line. "Think about what you're throwing away. Leonard is a catch. His family's connections alone are worth selling myself for?" I finished. Leonard stood, his 6'2" frame towering over me. "Either sign it, or there's no wedding." The room went silent. My mother gasped. Valentina's smirk grew wider. "Then there's no wedding." I pulled off my engagement ring, the massive diamond that had felt so heavy these past months suddenly weightless. "I'd rather be alone than owned." "You're making a mistake," Leonard growled. "You'll regret this." I dropped the ring on the envelope. "The only thing I regret is not seeing who you really were sooner." "Sylvia!" My mother grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. "You're being selfish. Think about the family. What will people say?" I yanked free. "They'll say your youngest daughter chose herself over a golden cage. Live with it." "Always the dramatic one," Valentina called after me. "Have fun with your little online shop. Maybe you can sell discount wedding dresses now." I slammed the front door so hard the windows rattled. In my car, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white, refusing to cry. My phone buzzed. Valentina had already posted something on Instagram about failed businesswomen and dodged bullets in the family. At my apartment, I opened my laptop. The honeymoon confirmation to Bali mocked me from my email. First-class tickets, luxury villa, all non-refundable. I'd insisted on paying my share, wanting to prove I could match Leonard's lifestyle. A new email notification popped up from my mother. Subject line: "Don't throw your life away." Delete. Another buzz. A text from Leonard. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. Call me when you're ready to be reasonable." Block. My hands shook as I opened a new spreadsheet. At the top, I typed Project Rise. Below it, I started listing assets: the honeymoon money, my savings, the boutique's inventory, potential investors. My phone rang again. This time, it was Caitlin, my best friend. "I just saw Valentina's post," she said. "Are you okay?" No. I stared at my spreadsheet. But I will be. How do you feel about quitting your job and helping me build an empire? There was a pause. Then Caitlin laughed. Girl, I thought you'd never ask. When do we start? Right now. I began typing faster. They wanted to bury me. Instead, they planted a seed. You're really going dark on everyone? Caitlin asked, helping me pack up my home office. Like completely off the grid? Not everyone. I deleted another social media account. Just anyone connected to my family or Leonard. I need space to rebuild without their noise. It had been 2 weeks since the prenup showdown. 2 weeks of ignored calls, deleted emails, and blocked numbers. My mother had even shown up at my apartment, but I'd already moved out. The luxury high-rise Leonard had insisted we live in was the first thing to go. Your new place is... Caitlin looked around my tiny studio apartment above what would become Vessel's first physical location. Perfect, I finished. It's exactly what we need right now. Every penny goes to the business. My phone buzzed. Another gossip blog notification about Leonard. I clicked it before I could stop myself. Oh God, I whispered. Caitlin peered over my shoulder. Is that Leonard and Valentina at La Maison? The photo showed them cozy at our favorite restaurant, his hand on her waist, her head thrown back, laughing. The caption read, Tech mogul Leonard finds love after broken engagement with ex-fiance's sister. I think I'm going to be sick. I ran to the bathroom, but nothing came up, just dry heaves and anger. Caitlin followed with a glass of water. They're doing this to hurt you, don't let them. They're succeeding. I splashed water on my face. 2 weeks. It took them 2 weeks to show their true colors, Caitlin cut in. Now use it, channel it. Back at my desk, I pulled up Vessel's new business plan. The boutique had been cute, safe. This would be different. You're right. Let's talk digital fashion integration. Hours turned into days, days into weeks. I sold everything that wasn't essential. My designer bags, the gifts from Leonard, even my car. Every dollar went into Vessel. Another supplier backed out, I told Caitlin one morning. Said they got a better offer. Valentina? Has to be. She's calling everyone in my contact list. I rubbed my temples. But I found something better. Look at this. I showed her the research I'd done on emerging digital fashion trends. Everyone's fighting over traditional retail. Nobody's looking at this space. Virtual try-ons? Caitlin scrolled through my presentation. AI-powered styling? This is the future, I said. And we're going to own it. The next month was brutal. I worked until my eyes burned, survived on coffee and determination, called every contact I had. Most ignored me. Some laughed. A few listened. Then came the email that changed everything. Holy shit, Caitlin breathed, reading over my shoulder. Is that really? Jamal Taylor, the venture capitalist who backed Style Fusion. My hands shook as I read his message again. He wants to meet. The meeting was set for the next day. I stayed up all night perfecting the pitch, rehearsing numbers, preparing for every possible question. You look like death, Caitlin said when I arrived at the coffee shop. Thanks. Just what every woman wants to hear before meeting a potential investor. Jamal was already there, dressed casually in jeans and a blazer. He stood when we approached, his handshake firm. So, he said, sitting down, show me why Vessel is different. I took a deep breath and opened my laptop. Halfway through my presentation, he held up his hand. Stop, he said. My heart sank. I've seen enough. But I haven't even gotten to the market projections, the scaling strategy. I don't need to see them. He leaned forward. I want to know why you're really doing this. I closed my laptop slowly, because they tried to take everything from me, my company, my dignity, my future, and I refused. And I'm going to build something so successful they'll choke on their regret. Jamal smiled. Now that's what I wanted to hear, but I need proof. Show me you can scale this in 90 days, and I'm in. After he left, Caitlin hugged me. We did it. Not yet. I opened my phone to show her something. Look what just went live. It was Leonard's announcement. He and Valentina were launching a women's fashion brand called Virtuelle. Wait, Caitlin squinted at the description. These are your ideas from your draft business plan. The one I showed Leonard when we were engaged. I closed the browser. They're not just dating, they're stealing my concept. Can they do that? I opened my laptop again, fingers flying over the keys. They can try, but they forgot something important. What's that? I'm not the same woman they tried to destroy. I hit enter, sending out a series of emails. And unlike them, I know how to build something real. Project Rise was about to become Project Revenge. 5 minutes, I whispered, splashing cold water on my face in the office bathroom. Just hold it together for 5 more minutes. My reflection told the whole story. Dark circles under bloodshot eyes, skin pale from too many sleepless nights. 90 days to prove ourselves to Jamal had seemed doable. Now, on day 45, I was falling apart. A knock on the door. Sylvia? Caitlin's voice. The developers are waiting. Coming. I reapplied my lipstick with shaking hands. The tremors hadn't stopped for days. Too much coffee, too little sleep. The development team looked bored when I walked in. 5 guys who'd seen too many startups fail, waiting to tell me why my ideas wouldn't work. The virtual fitting room algorithm, the lead developer began. Will work, I cut in, pulling up our test results. We've run 10,000 body scans. The accuracy rate is 98.7%. But the processing power is handled by our new server architecture. I clicked through slides faster than my trembling hands should allow. The lag time is under 2 seconds. Hours passed, my vision blurred. The room spun slightly, but I kept talking, kept pushing. Finally, they agreed to start coding. Back in my office, I collapsed into my chair. Caitlin appeared with a sandwich. When's the last time you ate? I tried to remember. Yesterday, maybe? This isn't sustainable, she said. You're killing yourself. I'm fine. I wasn't. My phone buzzed. Another Instagram notification. Leonard and Valentina at Fashion Week announcing Virtuelle's launch date. My launch date. They'd stolen that too. The room tilted. I barely made it to the trash can before throwing up. That's it. Caitlin grabbed her keys. We're going to the emergency room. No hospitals. I wiped my mouth. I have a pitch meeting with... You have severe exhaustion and probable malnutrition. The meeting can wait. Nothing can wait. I stood too quickly, had to grab the desk. They're launching in 6 weeks. Everything I planned, everything I designed, they're going to beat me to market with my own ideas. And you'll be dead before you can stop them if you don't rest. My phone rang. Jamal. I answered on speaker, trying to steady my voice. How's my investment looking? He asked. On track. The developers just... My voice cracked. The room spun again. Sylvia? Jamal's tone changed. Are you okay? She's not, Caitlin said loudly. She's working herself to death. Silence on the line. Then, I'm coming over. Don't move. 30 minutes later, Jamal walked into my office, took one look at me, and shook his head. This isn't what I invested in. I'm fine, I insisted. Just tired. You're destroying yourself. He sat down. And for what? Revenge? For my future. There won't be a future if you collapse. He pulled out his phone. I'm sending someone over, a friend. He's got information you need to hear. An hour later, a man in an expensive suit arrived. I'm Kaysen, he said, Leonard's business partner. I stiffened. Get out. Wait. He held up his hands. I'm here to help. I've got proof. Documents showing they stole your intellectual property. My heart stopped. What? He pulled out a USB drive. Everything. Their whole plan. They didn't just steal your ideas. They're using your original supplier contacts, your market research, everything. Why are you showing me this? Because what they're doing is wrong. He looked disgusted. And because their whole launch depends on a technology they don't understand, they're going to fail spectacularly. I plugged in the drive. Pages of emails, documents, plans, all my work, rebranded as Virtuel. Use it, Kaysen said. Take them down legally. I'll testify. After he left, Jamal turned to me. Now will you rest? You've got what you need. I stared at the screen, at the evidence of their betrayal. They really thought they could just take everything. They thought you'd break, Caitlin said softly, like they almost did today. I'm not broken. I closed the laptop. But you're right. I need to be stronger than this. Take 3 days, Jamal said. Real rest. Then we'll plan the counterattack. I nodded, finally letting Caitlin help me up. My phone buzzed again. Another post from Valentina about innovative fashion technology and disrupting the industry. Let them post, I said, turning off my phone. They think they've won, but they just handed me everything I need to destroy them. First, Caitlin said, steering me toward the door, you're going to sleep. Revenge requires energy. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Wake me when the lawyers get here. Ms. Wilson. The journalist from Fashion Forward adjusted her recorder. Your sister Valentina mentioned you had a complicated start in the industry. Of course she did. I kept my smile perfectly neutral, channeling 3 days of actual sleep and 2 weeks of legal preparation into appearing unfazed. Sarah, right? I gestured to the vessel showroom around us. What do you see here? She glanced around. Innovation, your virtual fitting technology is revolutionary. That's not complicated, that's vision. I stood, walking to our main display. Would you like to try it? The next 30 minutes, I demonstrated our platform. Sarah's eyes widened as the AI perfectly matched her measurements, showing how each garment would fit her unique body type. This is incredible, she breathed, but your sister said, I'll make you a deal. I sat back down. I'll tell you my story, the real story, but I want final approval on the article. She hesitated. That's unusual. So is having your sister feed false narratives to the press. I held her gaze. Do we have a deal? She nodded. I told her everything, without names, without bitterness, just facts. A founder betrayed, ideas stolen, a phoenix rise. That's not the story I was expecting, Sarah said finally. Truth rarely is. My phone buzzed. Caitlin's text. Influencers confirmed. Right on schedule. Check your social media in an hour, I told Sarah. You might want to add to your article. By sunset, Vessel was trending. 50 top influencers had posted wearing our designs, all using our virtual fitting room technology. Orders flooded in. The website barely handled the traffic. We did it! Caitlin hugged me as we watched the numbers climb. My office door burst open. A courier handed me an envelope. Cease and desist, I read aloud. From Virtuel. They're claiming we stole their intellectual property. Caitlin grabbed the letter. Are they insane? They stole from us. They're desperate. I checked the time. Kaysen should be here in 10 minutes. Right on time, Leonard's business partner arrived with more documents. They're panicking, he said. Your launch exposed how far behind they are technically. Good. I handed him the cease and desist. Time for phase 2? He grinned. I'll file the countersuit tonight. With these documents, they don't stand a chance. My phone rang. Leonard's number. After months of silence, now he wanted to talk? I put it on speaker. Hello, Leonard. Call off your lawyers. His voice was tight. This isn't funny anymore. Funny? Like dating my sister while stealing my business plan? That kind of funny? We can work something out. He was using his negotiating voice, the one that used to make me feel small. Come on, baby, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I looked at Kaysen, who nodded encouragingly. I'm reasonably expecting my intellectual property to be protected under the law. Don't do this, he warned. You're going to regret. No, Leonard. You're going to regret. Check your email in 5 minutes. I hung up and nodded to Caitlin, who pressed send on our prepared email blast. Evidence of theft, documented timeline, proof of collusion, all sent to every major fashion publication and technology blog. Within hours, the story exploded. Fashion startup drama, stolen dreams, and digital deception, read one headline. Sister act gone wrong. The vessel vs. virtual battle, read another. My mother called next. Sylvia, stop this madness immediately. You're destroying your sister's chance at happiness. Like she destroyed mine? I watched another order notification pop up. Sorry, Mother, I'm busy running my company. The family name will survive, though it might need some rebranding. The next morning, Sarah's article dropped. The headline, Vessel, the future of fashion born from betrayal. It was perfect, subtle but sharp, professional but pointed. The comment section filled with support. Then came the death blow. Kaysen's public statement supporting our claims with documentation. Virtuel's stock tanked before trading even opened. Sylvia? Caitlin poked her head in. You need to see this. On her phone was a video of Valentina outside Virtuel's offices, screaming at reporters. She's always been jealous. She's trying to ruin me because she couldn't keep her man. Should we respond? Caitlin asked. I looked at our sales numbers, still climbing. At the industry support pouring in. At the legal documents proving our case. No need. I closed my laptop. Success is the best response. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Jamal. Dinner tonight? We should celebrate. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. Tell him yes, I told Caitlin. But first, let's go see our new flagship location. The one next to Virtuel's failed pop-up shop? Exactly. I grabbed my coat. I hear the rent's very reasonable now. The court rules in favor of Vessel, the judge announced. Virtuel must cease all operations and pay damages in the amount of... I stopped listening, my eyes fixed on Leonard and Valentina across the courtroom. Their perfect facades finally cracked. His jaw clenched, her mascara smeared from crying. Kaysen leaned over. Congratulations. Want to get coffee? There's something else you should know. At the cafe around the corner, he pulled out his tablet. They're broke. The lawsuit exposed everything. They spent all their investor money on marketing, had nothing left for actual development. And I stirred my latte, knowing there was more. And I bought controlling interest in Virtuel this morning, for pennies. He smiled. It's yours if you want it. I nearly choked. You what? Poetic justice. Their company, their assets, their brand, all legally yours. My phone buzzed. Caitlin had sent a link to Valentina's latest Instagram story, a tearful rant about betrayal and family loyalty. Speaking of brands, I said, I have an idea for our next campaign. 2 weeks later, Vessel launched Unwanted Wife, a collection inspired by women who chose freedom over false security. The promotional images featured a model who looked suspiciously like me, removing a massive ring, surrounded by torn prenup papers. This is genius, Caitlin said, watching the social media explosion. Subtle enough to avoid legal issues, obvious enough to go viral. Sylvia! Leonard's voice boomed across our office lobby. Security moved to stop him, but I waved them off. Let him through. This should be entertaining. He stormed into my office, waving his phone. Take it down. This campaign is defamation. Is it? I leaned back in my chair. I don't see your name anywhere, unless you're admitting to something. You vindictive bit... Careful, Kaysen stepped out of my private conference room. That's not a good look for court records. Leonard's face went pale. Kaysen, what are you... Protecting my investment. Kaysen smiled. Vessel's doing amazingly well, don't you think? Leonard left without another word, but the drama wasn't over. That evening, an email from my mother. You're tarnishing the family name. This vendetta must stop. Your father would be ashamed. I drafted a reply. Funny, I think Dad would be proud I didn't let anyone steal what I built. Send. You okay? Jamal asked over dinner that night. We'd been having these business dinners more frequently lately. Better than okay. I showed him the latest numbers. The campaign doubled our engagement. Turns out women really relate to choosing themselves over toxic relationships. And the family drama is excellent for marketing. I sipped my wine. Though I could do without Valentina's daily meltdowns outside our stores. About that, he pulled out his phone. Entertainment Weekly wants to interview you. The woman who built an empire from heartbreak. That's their angle. I considered it. On one condition, I want the cover. The next morning, Caitlin burst into my office. Have you seen this? She held up her tablet. Leonard had filed another lawsuit, this time claiming emotional distress. Perfect timing, I said, pulling up the folder Kaysen had prepared. Show them these. The documents proved Leonard had been planning to take over my original boutique even before proposing. Emails, meeting notes, strategy documents, all dated months before the prenup ambush. His lawsuit disappeared within hours. That afternoon, I walked through Vessel's flagship store, the one that used to be Virtuel's planned location. Customers lined up to use our virtual fitting rooms. Sales associates demonstrated our technology. Success, they say, is the best revenge. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Ms. Wilson? A woman's voice. This is Marie Claire magazine. We saw your Entertainment Weekly cover shoot is coming up. We'd like to offer you our self-made CEO issue as well. I smiled. Send me the details. After hanging up, I noticed an email from Valentina. Subject, I'm sorry. Delete. Another from my mother. Please, let's talk. Family is everything. Delete. Busy day? Jamal appeared in my doorway, looking particularly handsome in his casual Friday suit. The usual lawsuits, magazine covers, family drama. I stood up. Dinner? Actually, he said, I was thinking we could call it what it is, a date. I hesitated. Trust didn't come easily anymore. Just dinner, he added quickly. No prenups involved. For the first time in months, I laughed genuinely. In that case, yes. But first, I gestured to my computer. Help me draft the press release about Vessel acquiring Virtuel. I want the wording to be perfect. Ruthless, he said admiringly. No, I corrected. Just karma. The woman who built an empire from heartbreak, screamed the magazine cover. My face stared back from newsstands across the city, the headline both vindicating and exhausting. Your phone's been ringing non-stop, Caitlin said, dropping a stack of messages on my desk. Everyone from Good Morning America to your third-grade teacher wants to talk. I flipped through the messages, then stopped. Mother called? 8 times. Valentina too, even Leonard's mother. Delete, delete, and definitely delete. I paused at another message. Wait, the Met Gala? They want you as a special guest. Caitlin grinned. Apparently, revenge is very fashionable this season. My office door burst open. Sarah from Fashion Forward rushed in, breathless. Have you seen it? The cover? It's everywhere. No, Instagram, your sister's live right now. We huddled around her phone. Valentina, clearly drunk, was ranting to her followers. She planned this. She knew Leonard would fall for me. She orchestrated everything just to destroy us both. That's a creative interpretation, Caitlin muttered. I grabbed my phone as it buzzed. A text from my mother. We need to talk. Family dinner. Tonight. Don't go, Caitlin warned. It's a trap. Of course it is. I typed a reply. Sorry. Busy building my empire. The vessel launch gala was that evening, our biggest event yet. Celebrities, influencers, and industry titans packed our new headquarters. I was discussing expansion plans with investors when I felt a familiar presence. Impressive party, Leonard said behind me, almost as impressive as your takedown of my company. I turned slowly, champagne in hand. He looked expensive but tired, defeated. Our company, I corrected. Since the acquisition. Can we talk? He tried his old, charming smile. Just coffee, for old time's sake. I don't drink coffee with intellectual property thieves. Still bitter? He stepped closer. Come on, Sylvia. We both know this revenge campaign is about us, not business. Actually, Jamal appeared, sliding his arm around my waist. It's about both. The numbers don't lie. Leonard's face darkened. And who's this? Jamal Taylor, venture capitalist, current boyfriend, former skeptic of revenge as a business model. He grinned. I've never been happier to be wrong. A commotion at the entrance drew everyone's attention. Valentina was arguing with security, her voice carrying across the lobby. That's my sister. She stole everything from me. Let me in. I nodded to security. Let her through. Valentina stormed in, mascara smeared, designer dress slightly askew. Happy now? She screamed. You've ruined everything. The room went silent. Phones came out, recording. I ruined everything? I kept my voice calm. Interesting perspective. You couldn't stand that he chose me? That I was more successful? Successful? I laughed. You stole my business plan and failed to execute it. That's not success. That's plagiarism. Ladies, my mother's voice cut through the tension. She stood in the doorway, immaculate as always. This is hardly the place. Actually, I said, it's the perfect place. Everyone's here. The betrayed and the betrayers, all under one roof. Security approached, but I waved them back. No, let them stay. In fact, I turned to the crowd. Who wants to hear a story about family, betrayal, and the true cost of success? Sylvia, don't, my mother warned. Why not? Isn't this what you wanted? The family together again? Valentina stepped forward. You think you're so perfect? You destroyed our family? No, I said quietly. You did that when you chose greed over loyalty. Enough, Leonard shouted. You got what you wanted. You won. Just stop. Won? I looked around the room, at my successful company, at Jamal's supportive presence, at the empire I'd built from their betrayal. No, this isn't about winning. This is about consequences. My mother tried one last time. Darling, please, let's discuss this privately, as a family. I smiled. You're right, let's talk privately. I turned to the crowd. Please enjoy the party. My family and I need a moment in the boardroom. As security escorted them upstairs, Caitlin grabbed my arm. What are you doing? Ending this, once and for all. Want backup? Jamal asked. No. I straightened my dress. This is something I need to do alone. I walked toward the elevator, head high, cameras flashing. The time for revenge was over. Now it was time for closure. Send up coffee, I told Caitlin. Something tells me this will be a long conversation. The elevator doors closed on my family's faces, a perfect metaphor for how far we'd fallen. But this time, I was the one with my finger on the button. The boardroom felt smaller with all of them in it. Leonard paced by the windows. Valentina slumped in a chair, mascara tracks down her cheeks. My mother sat perfectly straight, every hair in place, as if good posture could fix this mess. Well, Mother broke the silence. You've gathered us here. What do you want? I connected my laptop to the display screen. To show you something. The first slide appeared, emails between Leonard and Valentina from 6 months before our wedding, planning, scheming, discussing how to take control of my company. Where did you get those? Leonard stopped pacing. Keep watching. Next slide, their meetings with lawyers, dated weeks before the prenup ambush. Then their stolen business plan, highlighted to show exact matches with my original work. You had no right, Valentina started. To protect myself? I clicked through more evidence. To defend what I built? My mother stood. Enough of this spectacle. We're here to make peace. Peace? I laughed. Like the peace you offered when you tried to force me to sign away my company? That kind of peace? We were protecting you, she insisted. No. I pulled up her emails to Leonard. You were protecting your social status. Leonard will be perfect for the family image. Your words, Mother, not mine. Valentina suddenly looked interested. What emails? Oh, you didn't know? I clicked again. Mother knew about you and Leonard, before the prenup, before everything. The color drained from Valentina's face. Mom, I did what was best for everyone, Mother said stiffly. Best for everyone? I stood. You orchestrated this whole thing. You pushed me toward Leonard knowing he wanted Valentina. You helped them steal my business plan. Why? Because you were throwing your life away on that silly online shop, she exploded. Valentina understood what this family needs. Status, connections. You just wanted to play shopkeeper on the internet. Leonard tried to reach for Valentina, who jerked away. Don't touch me. You use me too. Baby, no, he started. Show her the rest, I said quietly. More emails appeared. Leonard to his lawyers, discussing how to minimize Valentina's stake in Virtuelle once they launched. You were going to push me out? Valentina whispered. It was business, Leonard said weakly. Like stealing my company was business? I asked. Like dating my sister was business? I loved you both, he tried. No, I closed my laptop. You loved what we could give you. Access to Mother's social circle through Valentina. My business innovation through me. Sylvia, Mother tried again. We can fix this, as a family. Fix what? The fact that you sold out both your daughters? That you played us against each other our whole lives? Valentina was crying openly now. All those times you compared us, pushed us to compete. I made you both stronger, Mother insisted. No, I said. You made us weapons against each other. But that ends today. I pressed a button, case unentered with a stack of papers. What's this? Leonard asked. Separation agreements, clean breaks. You all sign, acknowledging your roles in this mess, and we go our separate ways. No more lawsuits, no more drama, no more family. You can't just erase us, Mother said. Watch me. I started laying out papers. Sign, and this evidence stays private. Don't sign. I shrugged. I hear Netflix loves family drama documentaries. Leonard signed first, not even reading it. Mother hesitated, then followed. Valentina stared at the papers. I was so jealous of you, she whispered. My perfect little sister, Mother's secret favorite. I was never her favorite, I said. I was her project, like you were her trophy. She picked up the pen. What happens after we sign? You live your life. I live mine. We accept that some things can't be fixed. She signed, then stood, facing our mother. I never want to see you again. Mother flinched. Valentina? Save it. My sister walked to the door, then turned. Sylvia, I'm sorry for everything. After they left, I sat alone in the boardroom, staring at the signed papers. Caitlin found me there. You okay? No? I smiled tiredly. But I will be. My phone buzzed. An email from a global retail chain wanting to partner with Vessel. Subject line, International Expansion Opportunity. Want to know something funny? I showed Caitlin the email. This is exactly what I wanted 2 years ago. Success, recognition, proof I was right. And now? Now I realize the price of getting everything you want. I stood up, gathering the papers. Come on, let's go back to the party. To celebrate? No. I took one last look at the evidence of my family's betrayal, to remember that success without peace is just another kind of prison. We headed downstairs, leaving the past behind in that boardroom. Sometimes winning isn't about who's left standing, it's about knowing when to walk away. You should see these expansion numbers, Caitlin said, following me through Vessel's flagship store. Paris wants 3 locations, London's asking for 5. Send me the proposals. I stopped to help a customer with our virtual fitting room. There, try the blue one. It'll suit your complexion better. The customer beamed as the AI rendered the dress on her body shape. It's perfect. You know, I read your story in Marie Claire. You're such an inspiration. I smiled, but my chest tightened. Inspiration. The word followed me everywhere now. Speaking of inspiration, Caitlin said once the customer left, have you seen this? She showed me her phone, a social media post from Valentina, not a rant or accusation, but a business announcement. She'd started a support group for women leaving toxic family situations. Good for her, I said, meaning it. She tagged you. Some lessons come at a high price. Thank you, sister, for teaching me the hardest one. My phone buzzed. Jamal. Still on for dinner? There's something I want to discuss. Business or pleasure? I texted back. Both. Always both with you. Caitlin peered over my shoulder. You know he's going to propose. He knows better than to rush me. It's been a year since the boardroom showdown. Not everyone is Leonard. I walked through my store, my empire, touching the displays we'd built from betrayal and determination. Sometimes I wonder if it was worth it, the revenge, the cost. Was it? Before I could answer, a familiar figure appeared in the doorway. My mother. Security moved immediately, but she held up her hands. Please, 5 minutes. I should have said no, should have had her removed. Instead, I nodded toward my office. She looked older, less polished. You've done wonderfully, she said, studying the magazine covers on my wall. Your father would have been proud. Why are you here? To give you this. She placed an envelope on my desk. Your father's last letter. I kept it thinking. Well, it doesn't matter what I thought. My hands shook as I opened it. Dad's familiar handwriting filled the page. My dearest Sylvia, if you're reading this, your mother finally learned to let go. You were always different, not better or worse than your sister, just uniquely you. Don't let anyone cage that spirit. Build your dreams, but remember, success without peace is just another prison. Love, Dad. I looked up. He knew? He knew everything. About me. About how I pushed you both. She wiped a tear. I thought I was making you stronger. Instead, I broke everything he tried to build. Why now? Because I saw Valentina's post. About healing. About learning. She stood. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to have his words. After she left, I sat holding the letter. Caitlin found me there. You okay? Dad used to say that exact phrase about success and peace. I showed her the letter. I've been quoting him without knowing it. My phone buzzed again. Jamal was waiting downstairs. Go, Caitlin said. I'll handle the Tokyo investors. Jamal stood in the lobby, looking nervous. Unlike his usual confident self. Everything okay? I asked. That depends. He pulled out a folder. I have a proposal. Business first. Inside was a partnership agreement, not a marriage proposal, a genuine merger opportunity between his VC firm and Vessel. Equal partners, he said. No prenup, no hidden clauses, just us, building something bigger together. I studied the terms. Everything was clear, fair, balanced. And the personal part of this proposal comes after you've had your lawyers review that, because I learned from your ex's mistakes. He grinned. Never mix business and romance without full disclosure. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in ages. Smart man. I try. He took my hand. Want to get dinner and talk about expanding into sustainable fashion tech? Lead with business? You really do know me. Walking to dinner, I saw my reflection in a store window. Not the revenge-driven woman from 2 years ago, not the perfect daughter my mother wanted, just me. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Valentina. Found my own path. Thanks for showing me how. I typed back, keep building. Just make sure it's yours this time. Ready? Jamal asked. I looked at him, at the partnership agreement, at the empire I'd built from ashes. Yes, for whatever comes next. They say success is the best revenge, but maybe the best revenge is finding peace, not in spite of betrayal, but because of it. They tried to bury me, but they forgot I was a seed. And from that seed grew something stronger than revenge. Wisdom. Let's go build something new, I said, taking Jamal's hand. This time I wasn't running from something. I was walking toward everything.
I knew something was wrong before I even turned onto my street. Call it intuition, or maybe just years of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But when I saw that bright red sold sign stabbed into the front lawn of my childhood home, the home I'd just spent the last 14 months renovating, my hands started shaking so badly I had to pull over. My name is Sarah, and I just got robbed by my own parents. I fumbled for my phone, nearly dropping it twice before managing to dial my mother's number. The call went straight to voicemail. Of course it did. I tried my father next, and on the fourth ring he picked up. "Hey, sweetie," he said, casual as could be, like he was commenting on the weather. "How was your conference in Boston?" "Dad," I fought to keep my voice steady, "why is there a sold sign in front of the house?" A pause. I heard my mother's voice in the background, then shuffling like he was switching ears. "Oh, that. Well, your mother and I decided it was time. The market's hot right now. You know how it is." The market's hot, like we were discussing stock tips over coffee. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white, staring at the house I'd poured my heart, soul, and life savings into. The new windows I'd installed gleamed in the afternoon sun. The wraparound porch I'd rebuilt board by board mocked me with its fresh coat of sage green paint. "Time?" My voice cracked. "Time for what? To sell the house without telling me, after everything I put into it?" "Now, Sarah," my mother's voice cut in. She must have grabbed the phone. "Don't be dramatic. We're the homeowners, sweetheart. It's our decision to make." I closed my eyes, remembering every weekend spent stripping wallpaper, every contractor I'd coordinated, every penny of the $100,000 I'd invested. "Mom, we had an agreement. I paid for the renovation. We discussed this. I was supposed to have equity." "Oh, honey," she interrupted, that familiar condescending tone making my stomach turn. "We needed the cash. You understand, don't you? The buyers made an excellent offer, and really it was so sweet of you to fix up your old family home. We're very grateful." Grateful. The word hit me like a slap. I watched a well-dressed couple emerge from a luxury SUV, walking up the driveway with what had to be their realtor. They were pointing at my garden, at my porch, at all my work. "Who are they?" I asked, my voice hollow. "The Delgados," my mother chirped. "Lovely people. They're closing in 3 days. They absolutely adored what you did with the place. It's why they offered so much over asking." 3 days. The timeline slammed into me like a physical blow. They'd planned this, timed it perfectly with my work trip. They'd waited until I was gone to put up the sign, probably hoping to close before I even knew what was happening. "How could you do this?" I whispered. "How could you just now, Sarah?" My father's voice again, stern this time. "What's done is done. We're your parents. We know what's best." I ended the call, my hand shaking as I lowered the phone. Through the windshield, I watched the potential buyers admiring my handiwork, imagining their future in my labor of love. They had no idea what they were walking into. A text buzzed through. My sister, Annabelle. Hey sis, heard you found out about the house. Don't be mad at mom and dad, okay? They really needed this. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my glove compartment and pulled out a worn leather folder, the one my ex Casey had insisted I keep somewhere safe. Just in case, he'd said back then, his lawyer instincts kicking in. I know you want to trust them, Sarah, but protect yourself. Inside was a document my parents had signed 3 years ago, buried in a stack of renovation paperwork. They hadn't read it carefully. They never did. All was too busy, too important to be bothered with details. But Casey had helped me word it perfectly, legally binding, recorded with the county clerk. My mother was right about one thing. What's done was done, but not in the way they thought. I watched the Delgados climb back into their SUV, already picturing their furniture in my spaces. Poor them. They had no idea they were about to get caught in the crossfire of a family war 34 years in the making. My parents always saw me as the soft one, the reliable daughter, the one who would give and give until there was nothing left. They thought they knew exactly who I was, exactly how this would play out. They were wrong. I started my car, a calm settling over me as I pulled away from the curb. They wanted to sell my renovation out from under me? Fine. But they forgot to read the fine print. And this time, I was ready. 3 years earlier, I sat across from Casey at our favorite coffee shop, watching him read through the renovation proposal I drafted for my parents. His forehead creased as he flipped through the pages, and I knew that look. The one he got when he was trying to find a gentle way to tell me I was being naive. $100,000, he finally said, setting down the papers. Sarah, that's your entire savings. I stirred my now cold coffee. I know it sounds crazy. It doesn't sound crazy, he interrupted, leaning forward. It sounds dangerous. You're planning to sink your life savings into a house you don't own, based on a verbal agreement with people who have a history of... He paused, choosing his words carefully, not following through on their promises to you. They're different now, I insisted, but the words sounded hollow even to me. Mom's been in therapy. Dad's retired. They want to make things right. Casey reached across the table and took my hand. Remember last Christmas, when they promised to help with your student loans if you planned their anniversary party? How much did you spend on that party, Sarah? 12,000, I mumbled. And how much did they help with your loans? I pulled my hand away. That's not fair. Mom got sick right after. She got a cold, Casey cut in. A cold that somehow cost exactly what they promised to give you. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Look, I know you want to believe they've changed, but as your boyfriend and as a lawyer, I'm begging you. If you're going to do this, let me help you protect yourself. That night, we drafted the document together. Casey called in favors from colleagues, making sure every word was airtight. We buried it in the middle of the renovation paperwork, a simple clause granting me equity rights proportional to my investment, with the requirement that I be notified and compensated before any sale. They'll never read page 6 of a maintenance addendum, Casey predicted, but it'll be legally binding once they sign. He was right. My mother barely glanced at the papers, too busy planning where she'd put her new furniture once I finished the renovations. My father signed wherever she pointed, the way he always did. I threw myself into the work. 12-hour days turned into 14, then 16. I learned to tile bathrooms from YouTube videos, developed a first-name relationship with everyone at the hardware store. Casey tried to be supportive, but as the months wore on, The renovation consumed everything, our date nights, our future plans, my sanity. You're killing yourself for their approval, he said one night, watching me ice my blistered hands. They're never going to give it to you, Sarah, not the way you want. We broke up 2 months later. The renovation had become my obsession, my last desperate attempt to build something real with my family. Casey couldn't watch me self-destruct anymore, and I couldn't blame him. Now, sitting in my car outside the house, I pulled out my phone and found his contact. He answered on the second ring. Sarah, everything okay? You were right, I said quietly. About everything. They're selling the house. A long pause. Did they tell you first? I found out when I saw the sold sign in the yard. They waited until I was out of town. Jesus Christ, he exhaled sharply. Please tell me you still have the paperwork. In my glove compartment, right where you told me to keep it. Good. His lawyer voice kicked in. Don't confront them again until you talk to Logan Chavez. He's the best real estate attorney I know. I'll text you his number. I felt tears pressing behind my eyes. I should have listened to you back then. Hey, no, you wanted to believe in your family. There's nothing wrong with that. He paused. What they did, that's on them, not you. I spent so long trying to earn their love, I whispered. But that's not how love is supposed to work, is it? No, he said softly, it's not. My phone buzzed with Logan's contact info. Thanks, Casey, for everything. Sarah? His voice stopped me before I could hang up. Whatever you decide to do next, I'm in your corner, okay? I ended the call and looked at the house. My beautiful, betrayed labor of love. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the porch, where I'd spent countless nights sanding, painting, dreaming of family dinners and holiday gatherings that would never happen. I pulled out the paperwork one more time, running my finger over my parents' signatures. They thought they were so clever, timing the sale with my business trip. They thought they knew exactly what they were dealing with. Time to show them how wrong they were. I found Annabelle at her favorite juice bar, sipping something green and scrolling through her phone. She didn't look up when I slid into the seat across from her. I was wondering when you'd show up, she said, still typing. Mom said you're having a meltdown about the house. Where did you get the money for your new condo? I asked quietly. That got her attention. Her perfectly manicured fingers froze over the screen, and for just a second I caught a flicker of guilt in her eyes before she masked it with her usual bored expression. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because the realtor's website shows you just closed on a luxury condo downtown, 2-bed, 2-bath, river view. I leaned forward. That's quite a purchase for someone who was complaining about student loan payments last month. She set her phone down carefully. Maybe I'm just better at saving than you are. Or maybe Mom and Dad already promised you a cut of the house sale. The slight twitch of her lip confirmed it. How long have you known, Annabelle? Look, she sighed like I was being unreasonable. They needed to sell. You turned their house into some HGTV fantasy without asking. Without asking? I cut in. I have 14 emails between Mom and me discussing every single renovation. I have receipts for every penny I spent. I have... God, you're so dramatic. She rolled her eyes. It's their house, Sarah. They can do whatever they want with it. Including forging my signature? Annabelle's smoothie cup slipped, spilling green liquid across the table. What? I pulled out my phone, showing her the document Logan had sent over that morning. See this disclosure form? That's supposedly my signature, dated last week. Funny, since I was in Boston. She started, then stopped, grabbing napkins to mop up her spill. Her hands were shaking. The thing is, I continued, it's actually a pretty good forgery. Almost perfect, except for one detail. I broke my right wrist in high school, and my signature's had a slight slant ever since. This one's too straight, almost like someone who's been copying my signature since we were kids might have forgotten that detail. Annabelle's face went pale. Sarah, I can explain. You know what forgery means in a real estate transaction, right? It's fraud, federal charges, prison time. They made me do it, she burst out, her voice cracking. Mom said they needed my help, that you were being difficult about the paperwork. She said it was just a formality. I sat back, letting the betrayal wash over me. My little sister, the one I'd protected from our parents' rage, the one I'd helped through college, the one I thought might finally be on my side, had sold me out for a down payment. Did they tell you about my renovation investment? About the legal agreement they signed? She wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom said? She said you were trying to steal their equity, that you were being greedy. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. Greedy, right, because wanting back the $100,000 I spent on their house is greedy. Look, it's not that simple. Actually, it is. I stood up, gathering my things. You chose your side, Annabelle. Now you get to live with it. Wait! She grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. What are you going to do? I looked down at her hand, then back at her face. I'm going to talk to the buyer's lawyer. I'm going to show him the legal agreement Mom and Dad signed, giving me equity rights. And then I'm going to watch this whole house of cards collapse. You can't! Real panic crept into her voice. The closing's in 2 days. My condo loan depends on your cut of the fraudulent sale. I pulled my arm free. Maybe you should have thought about that before forging my signature. She stood up, desperation making her voice sharp. I'll tell them it was your idea, that you planned this whole thing to scam them. Who do you think they'll believe? The perfect daughter or the one who's always causing problems? The old Sarah would have flinched at that threat, would have backed down, tried to keep the peace, protected Annabelle like always. But I wasn't that person anymore. Go ahead, I said calmly. Tell them whatever you want. But first you might want to check your text messages from last week, the ones where you asked me about my Boston trip, making sure I'd be gone. Evidence of premeditation looks really bad in fraud cases. The color drained from her face. You wouldn't? Try me. I left her standing there, her green smoothie puddling on the table like the mess she'd made of her life. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Logan. Meeting with the Delgados set for tomorrow morning. Bring everything. I typed back a quick confirmation, then blocked Annabelle's number before she could call. The time for family loyalty was over. Tomorrow everyone would learn exactly what their signatures were worth. Logan's office felt too small for the tension filling it. The Delgados sat across from me, their expressions shifting from confusion to anger as Logan explained the situation. Between us lay the documents, my equity agreement, the renovation receipts, and the proof of my parents' deception. Let me get this straight, Brett Delgado said, his jaw tight. You're telling us this house has a legal claim against it that wasn't disclosed during the sale? Not just a claim, Logan replied, tapping the paperwork. Miss Sarah here has a recorded lien and equity rights equal to her $100,000 investment. It's ironclad, filed with the county 3 years ago. Kinley Delgado gripped her husband's arm. But our closing is tomorrow. We've already sold our other house. I'm so sorry, I said, meaning it. I never wanted innocent people caught in this mess, but my parents sold you a house they knew they didn't have full rights to sell. This is insane. Brett stood up, pacing. We did everything right. Home inspection, title search. How did nobody catch this? Logan cleared his throat. Because someone deliberately concealed it. We have evidence of forged signatures on the disclosure forms. That's criminal fraud. Fraud? Kinley's voice rose. Are you saying we're buying a house from criminals? You're not buying anything yet, Logan said firmly. This sale cannot legally close without settling Miss Sarah's claim first. Brett stopped pacing. And how much would that settlement be? My investment plus legal fees, I said quietly. Roughly $120 total. $120,000? Kinley laughed, the sound brittle. Where do they expect us to get that kind of money? We're already maxed out on our mortgage. The sellers would need to pay it from their proceeds, Logan explained. It's their liability, not yours. And if they refuse? Brett asked. Then the sale is void. You'd get your deposit back, but we'd be homeless, Kinley cut in. We close on our old house Friday. My stomach twisted. I hadn't wanted this, hadn't wanted to hurt an innocent family, but I also couldn't let my parents steal my life savings. There might be a solution, I offered, if you're willing to help me force their hand. Logan raised an eyebrow as I pulled out my phone, showing them the text messages from Annabelle about the forged documents. This is evidence of premeditated fraud. If we take this to the police. No police, Brett interrupted. We just want our house or our money back today. My phone buzzed, my father calling. I showed Logan the screen. Answer it, he advised. On speaker. I hit accept. Hi, Dad. Sarah, what the hell did you do? His voice shook with rage. The buyer's agent just called, saying there's a problem with the closing. Not a problem, I replied calmly. Just that equity agreement you and Mom signed. Remember? Page 6 of the renovation addendum? Silence, then distant but clear, my mother's voice. What is she talking about, Garrett? The document giving me legal rights to my $100,000 investment, I continued. The one you thought you could ignore by selling while I was away. Now listen here, he started, but Logan cut in. Mr. Wade, this is Logan Chavez, representing the buyers. We have evidence of fraudulent documentation in this sale. Either you settle your daughter's legal claim by noon tomorrow, or we'll be forced to involve the authorities. More silence. I could picture my father's face turning red, my mother pacing in the background. You ungrateful little... My mother's voice came closer to the phone. After everything we've done for you? Everything you've done? I felt my voice rise despite my efforts to stay calm. Like taking my life savings? Like forging my signature? Like cutting your own daughter out of a house sale to line your pockets? We'll fight this, my father threatened. We'll say you're lying, that you... Save it, Logan interrupted. The equity agreement is recorded with the county. The forgery evidence is clear. You have until noon tomorrow to wire the settlement amount, or the sale is void and fraud charges will be filed. Brett leaned forward. And will testify, every word. The line went dead. Kinley let out a shaky breath. Will they pay? I stared at the phone, remembering every broken promise, every manipulation, every time they'd used me. They don't have a choice. They need this sale too badly. What do you mean? Brett asked. They've already spent the money, I explained. My sister's condo, their new beach house deposit. They're leveraged on this closing happening tomorrow. Logan gathered the paperwork. Then we wait. They'll either pay by noon or they lose everything, I finished. The Delgados exchanged looks. We're sorry, Kinley said softly, about your family. I managed a small smile. Don't be. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to gain anything at all. My phone buzzed again. A text from Annabelle. Mom's hysterical. What have you done? I turned off my phone without replying. The time for family drama was over. Tomorrow at noon, one way or another, this all ends. The conference room at Logan's office felt like a powder keg. My parents sat at one end of the table, Annabelle beside them, all three refusing to look at me. Logan sat at the head, his laptop open to the bank's wire transfer page. The clock on the wall read 11:45 a.m. Let's review the terms one final time, Logan said, his voice carefully neutral. To proceed with the closing, we need confirmation of the settlement payment of $120,000 to Miss Sarah's account by noon. This is extortion, my mother spat, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against the table. No, Livia, Logan replied calmly. This is consequences. You sold a house with a legal claim against it, using forged documents to hide that fact. You're lucky we're not in a police station right now. My father's face had turned an alarming shade of red. We built that house. We raised our children there. And now our own daughter is— Don't, I cut him off. Don't you dare play the victim here. I pulled out my renovation receipts, spreading them across the table. Electrical upgrade $30,000, new windows $25,000, kitchen renovation $40,000. Should I go on? We never asked you to do any of that, my mother shouted. Really? I pulled out my phone, playing a saved voicemail. Sarah, honey, the kitchen is just awful. You're so good at this renovation stuff. Wouldn't it be wonderful to make this your project? We could all spend so much more time together. Annabelle shifted uncomfortably in her chair as my mother's manipulative voice filled the room. You knew exactly what you were doing, I continued, stopping the playback. You knew I wanted to fix our relationship, and you used that to get a free renovation. Then you tried to cut me out and sell it behind my back. We needed the money, my father muttered. For what? I demanded. For Annabelle's condo? For your beach house? How many properties were you planning to buy with my investment? My mother's face twisted. You're just jealous because we helped your sister instead of you. You've always been so competitive. Helped her? I laughed. You made her commit fraud. You used her just like you've always used me. That's not true, Annabelle whispered, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. Isn't it? I turned to her. Where were they when you needed help with college? I paid your rent for 2 years while they bought their vacation home. I covered your car payments while they took cruises. I've been cleaning up their messes our entire lives. 11 minutes, Logan interrupted quietly. My father pulled out his phone, hands shaking. We don't have this kind of money just sitting around. We've already committed to— To what, Dad? To promises you made with money you stole from me? We did not steal, my mother began, but Logan cut her off. Mrs. Wade, I have the equity agreement right here with your signature. You knew about your daughter's investment. You knew she had legal rights to this property. You deliberately concealed this during the sale. That is theft by deception, and it is a felony. The clock ticked. 11:54. My mother's composure finally cracked. Garrett, do something. My father looked broken, slumped in his chair. The beach house deposit. If we pull it now. You'll lose your reservation fee, my mother gasped. We can't. You don't have a choice, Logan stated. 6 minutes. Annabelle suddenly stood up. I'll give back the condo money, she said quietly. I didn't know it would go this far. My mother rounded on her. You ungrateful little— Don't you dare, I cut in, standing to face our mother. Don't you dare attack her for finally telling the truth. This is your fault, all of it. 3 minutes, Logan announced. My father was already on his phone with the bank. My mother had dissolved into tears, the fake, manipulative kind I'd seen 1,000 times before. Annabelle just looked lost. Done, my father finally said. The wire is sent. Logan refreshed his screen, then nodded. Payment confirmed, $120,000. My mother's tears dried instantly. She stood gathering her designer purse. I hope you're happy, she hissed at me. You've destroyed this family. No, Mom, you did that one betrayal at a time, one lie at a time, one manipulation at a time. I just finally stopped playing along. They left without another word. Annabelle lingered at the door. Sarah, don't, I said softly. Just do better with your life than they did with theirs. She nodded once and left. Logan closed his laptop. You okay? I looked at the clock. 12:01 p.m. In the span of 15 minutes, I lost my family but reclaimed my self-respect. Yeah, I said, surprised to find I meant it. I think I finally am. I thought the wire transfer would be the end of it. I was wrong. 2 hours after leaving Logan's office, my phone exploded with notifications. The bank had placed a temporary freeze on the escrow account, something about suspicious activity and fraud prevention protocols. This isn't a coincidence, Logan said when I called him. Someone flagged the transaction. I was about to respond when another call came through, the Delgado's real estate agent. Hold on, I told Logan, switching lines. Your mother just called the bank, the agent said without preamble. She's claiming your father coerced her into the sale and the wire transfer. She's trying to distance herself legally. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Of course she is. The moment things don't go her way, she throws everyone else under the bus, including her husband of 40 years. The closing's delayed until this gets sorted out. The Delgados are furious. After ending both calls, I sat in my car, trying to process this latest twist. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. When I opened it, my blood ran cold. Hey, sis, remember that time Mom forged Dad's signature on your college fund withdrawal? Karma's funny that way. Hey, I called Annabelle immediately. What did you do? What you taught me to do, she replied, her voice eerily calm. Protect myself. I sent an anonymous tip to the bank about Mom's history of financial fraud, including that time she drained your college fund and forged Dad's signature to cover it up. Why? Because she deserves this. All of it. Annabelle's voice cracked slightly. I found the paperwork, Sarah, the real numbers. They didn't just take your renovation money. They've been stealing from both of us for years. Different accounts, forged documents. It's all there. My hands started shaking. Where did you find this? In Mom's home office after they left Logan's. I went back to get my things and found her special filing cabinet unlocked. She must have been in such a rush to leave that she forgot to secure it. She paused. Did you know they took out a second mortgage on the house last year, using your renovation as collateral? The hits just kept coming. That's why they needed to sell so quickly, I realized. The payments must be coming due. Sarah, Annabelle hesitated. There's more. That beach house they put a deposit on, it's not even real. The investment company they wrote the check to, I looked them up. It's a scam. They got conned trying to con you. I had to pull over as the implications sank in. My parents hadn't just betrayed me. They'd orchestrated their own downfall through a web of lies and fraud that was now unraveling spectacularly. My phone rang again. Logan. Your sister's tip opened a whole investigation, he said without preamble. The bank's fraud department is going through everything, your parents' accounts, the house sale, all of it. How bad is it? Bad. The second mortgage they took out? They used forged documents for that too. The bank's talking about pressing charges. I closed my eyes. And the closing? Completely stalled. The Delgado's lawyer is advising them to walk away. With fraud allegations involved, the title company won't insure the sale. Another call beeped through. My father. I have to go, I told Logan. My dad's calling. I switched lines, but it wasn't my father's voice I heard. You vindictive little bitch, my mother seethed. Are you happy now? The bank's frozen everything. Your father's having chest pains. The beach house company won't return our calls because they're scammers, Mom, just like you. She fell silent. "How long?" I asked quietly. "How long have you been forging signatures and stealing money? Was anything in our lives ever real?" "You don't understand." "Actually, I do, finally. You're not a mother. You're a con artist who had children, and now your biggest con is falling apart." "Please." Her voice changed, becoming small and pleading. Another manipulation tactic I recognize too well. "We can fix this, as a family. Just call off the bank investigation." "No," I said firmly. "I'm not fixing anything for you. Not anymore." I ended the call and immediately blocked her number. Seconds later, a text from Annabelle came through. "Mom's telling everyone you drove Dad to have a heart attack. He's fine, BTW. I called the hospital. Just anxiety. Thought you should know." I started my car, suddenly needing to move, to drive, to be anywhere but here. Another text buzzed through. Logan. "Meeting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Bring everything you have. The DA's office wants to talk." I pulled onto the highway, no destination in mind. Behind me, the life I'd known was crumbling. Ahead lay uncertainty, but also maybe freedom. My phone buzzed one final time. Annabelle again. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. You were right about everything. Sometimes karma doesn't just come for those who hurt you. Sometimes it comes for those who hurt themselves." The courthouse steps felt like neutral ground for what would be our final confrontation. My parents arrived with their lawyer, not the family friend who'd handled their affairs for years, but someone new, someone expensive. My mother wore her best victim outfit, conservative dress, minimal makeup, clutching my father's arm like she needed support to walk. Logan stood beside me, solid as a wall. "Remember, let me do the talking." The Delgados arrived next, their faces tight with barely contained fury. Their lawyer carried a thick folder of documents, evidence of my parents' fraud that had emerged during the title search. "All parties present?" the mediator asked, checking her clipboard. "Let's move this inside." The conference room felt too bright, too sterile for the mess we were about to untangle. We took our seats, the Delgados and their lawyer on one side, my parents and theirs on the other, Logan and me at the end. Annabelle slipped in last, sitting alone in the corner. "We're here to resolve the disputed property sale," the mediator began, but Brett Delgado cut her off. "There's nothing to resolve. We want our deposit back, and we want compensation for our moving expenses and temporary housing costs." My mother started to speak, but her lawyer touched her arm. "My clients are willing to return the deposit, but any additional compensation—" "Your clients committed fraud," the Delgado's lawyer interrupted. "Multiple counts. We have documentation of forged signatures, undisclosed liens, and a second mortgage obtained under false pretenses. Those allegations are—" "True," Annabelle said quietly from her corner. Everyone turned to look at her. "I found Mom's files. I gave copies to the bank's fraud department yesterday." My mother's face went white. "You did what?" "The same thing you taught us to do, Mom. Look out for myself." The mediator cleared her throat. "Given these developments, I should inform everyone that this matter may need to be referred to the district attorney's office." "That won't be necessary," my father spoke for the first time, his voice trembling. "We'll return the deposit and pay the Delgados' expenses." "Garrett!" my mother hissed, but he continued, "And we'll sign over the house to Sarah. It's her equity anyway. We'll take the second mortgage debt." My mother stood up so fast her chair fell backward. "Like hell we will. That house is our retirement, our future." "No," my father said firmly. "It's the mess we made by trying to cheat our daughter, and I'm done." The mediator looked between them. "Mr. Wade, are you suggesting a full property transfer to your daughter?" "Yes," he said, not looking at my mother. "She put in the work. She deserves it." "This is ridiculous," my mother sputtered. "You can't—" "Actually, he can," her lawyer cut in. and given the evidence of fraud, it's your best option to avoid criminal charges. The next hour passed in a blur of paperwork and signatures. The Delgados would get their deposit plus expenses. I would get the house, assuming the second mortgage debt, but with enough equity to refinance it fairly. My parents would walk away with nothing but their freedom from prosecution. As we left the conference room, my mother grabbed my arm. "You've ruined everything," she spat. "I hope you're happy." I gently removed her hand. "You ruined everything, Mom. Years ago, when you decided that money was more important than your children's trust. Don't you dare lecture me about—" "Mom!" Annabelle appeared beside me. "Stop. It's over." Our mother looked between us, her two daughters finally united against her manipulation. Something in her broke. I saw it happen in real time. The mask cracked, revealing the scared, angry woman who'd spent a lifetime running cons to feel powerful. "You think you've won?" she whispered. "Family doesn't do this to family." "Exactly," I replied, "which is why we're done being family." She turned and fled down the courthouse steps, leaving my father standing alone. He looked old suddenly, defeated. "Sarah," he started, "I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I'm sorry." "You're right," I said. "It doesn't mean anything now." He nodded once and walked away, following his wife one last time. Annabelle touched my arm. "You okay? Are you? You lost them too." She smiled sadly. "Maybe we lost them years ago and just didn't want to see it." Logan approached with the final paperwork. "House is yours, clean and clear." I took the documents, feeling their weight, not just the paper, but the years of manipulation and lies they represented, and the freedom they now guaranteed. "What are you going to do with it?" Annabelle asked. I watched our parents' figures disappear into the parking lot. Two people who'd constructed their whole lives on deception finally facing the truth. "Sell it," I said. "Start fresh. Build something real this time." The courthouse doors closed behind us with a final heavy thud. Ahead, the afternoon sun painted everything in new light. The empty house echoed with my footsteps as I walked through each room one last time. My phone buzzed. A text from my real estate agent confirming tomorrow's closing with a new buyer. A good offer, well above market value. No hidden clauses this time, no secret agendas. Just a clean sale to a young family who loved what I'd built here. The doorbell rang. Casey stood on the porch, holding 2 coffee cups and wearing that half smile I remembered so well. "Thought you might need this," he said, handing me a cup. "Logan told me about the courthouse showdown." I let him in and we sat on the kitchen counter, the same spot where we planned the renovation 3 years ago. "Thanks for coming. I wanted you to see it finished." "It's beautiful," he said, looking around. "You did amazing work here." "I did," I agreed. No false modesty needed. "Want the tour?" We walked through each room and I found myself telling stories not about my parents or the betrayal, but about the work itself. The weekend I learned to install baseboards, the tile disaster that taught me about proper grout spacing, the victory of hanging my first chandelier. "Remember when you thought you couldn't do any of this?" Casey asked as we reached the master bathroom, my proudest achievement with its rainfall shower and heated floors. "I remember you believing I could even when I didn't." He touched the marble countertop. "You know, when I helped you draft that equity clause, I hoped you'd never need it." "I know." I leaned against the door frame. "But you prepared me anyway." "Because I saw what they couldn't. How strong you really are." My phone buzzed again. Annabelle. "Mom's still telling everyone you bankrupted them. Dad finally moved out. Karma's not done yet." I showed Casey the text. He let out a low whistle. "How are you holding up with all that?" "Better than I expected." I put the phone away. "It's like all those years I spent trying to earn their love, trying to fix everything. It wasn't really about them. It was about proving something to myself. And did you prove it? I gestured around us. Look at what I built. Look at what I protected. Look at what I walked away from when it wasn't right anymore. Yeah, I proved it. We made our way back downstairs. The setting sun streamed through the windows I'd installed, casting long shadows across the hardwood floors I'd restored by hand. The new owners are getting one hell of a house, Casey said. They're getting more than that. They're getting a home built with lessons. I ran my hand along the wall. Every room taught me something: patience, precision, self-reliance. And the biggest lesson? That sometimes building something beautiful means tearing down something toxic first. We stepped onto the porch, my porch with its perfect sage green paint. Casey touched my arm gently. Sarah, I'm proud of you. Not just for this, he gestured at the house, but for everything after, standing up to them, protecting yourself, choosing peace over family obligation. I had a good teacher, I smiled, even if I was a slow student. You were never slow, just thorough, making sure every piece was in place before making your move. My phone buzzed one last time, the final wire transfer confirmation from the bank. Tomorrow's buyers were ready with clean funds, no complications. Want to help me with one last thing? I asked Casey. He followed me to the garden where I knelt and dug up the small metal box I'd buried 3 years ago. Inside was a letter I'd written to myself the day I started the renovation. Dear future Sarah, I read aloud, I hope by the time you read this you've built something beautiful. I hope you've learned that your worth isn't measured by their approval. Most of all, I hope you found the strength to choose yourself. Casey squeezed my shoulder. Sounds like past Sarah was pretty smart too. I closed the box, leaving the letter inside. The new owners would find it eventually, maybe during their own renovations. Maybe it would help them build something beautiful too. Ready? Casey asked as the sun dipped below the horizon. I took one last look at the house. Not my parents' house anymore. Not even my house. Just a beautiful thing I'd built, protected, and now set free. Yeah, I said, pulling out my keys. I'm ready. We walked to our cars, the gravel crunching under our feet. Behind us, the house stood solid and sure in the gathering dusk, a testament not to what I'd lost, but to what I'd found. I'd found myself brick by brick, room by room, and that was worth more than any inheritance my parents could have given me. That was worth everything.
The first thing they tell you when you wake up from surgery is not to make any sudden movements. What they don't tell you is that the real pain comes from lying perfectly still while listening to your family erase you from your own sacrifice. My name is Karen, and I gave my kidney to save my sister's life. Now I'm lying in a hospital bed, pretending to sleep while my mother talks to the nurses outside my room. It's just such a blessing, Mom's voice carries through the thin walls. God guided us through this difficult time. Paisley is responding so well to the transplant. And your other daughter? The nurse asks. The donor. There's a pause. Oh, Karen? Yes, well, she was rather reluctant at first, but we helped her see it was the right thing to do. My eyes snap open. Reluctant? I volunteered before they even finished explaining Paisley needed a donor. I insisted on being tested for compatibility. I fought with the medical team when they initially hesitated because of my age. Victoria, dear. A familiar voice echoes down the hallway. Mrs. Peterson from church. How's our precious Paisley? Getting stronger every day. It's a miracle, really. I press the morphine button, hoping it'll dull more than just the physical pain. It doesn't. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in our family's backyard, surrounded by fairy lights and Praise God for Paisley banners. The recovery celebration is in full swing. My sister sits in a makeshift throne of cushions, accepting hugs and well wishes while I lean against the garden wall, hand pressed against my still healing incision. Paisley, honey, tell everyone about your recovery journey, Mom calls out, clinking her glass for attention. Paisley beams. It's been incredible. The doctor said they've never seen anyone bounce back so quickly. I just knew God had a plan for me. Someone in the crowd calls out, "What about Karen? How are you feeling, dear?" Before I can answer, Dad steps in. Karen's doing fine, but tonight is about celebrating Paisley's miracle. Let's not shift focus. I watch as Paisley accepts another hug, another card, another kiss on the cheek. The fairy lights blur as tears fill my eyes. Not from pain. The physical stuff is manageable now. No, this is something deeper. Something that started long before I ever entered that operating room. "Did you hear?" Mrs. Peterson whispers loudly to another guest. "Victoria told me Karen almost backed out at the last minute. Thank goodness they convinced her to do the right thing." The lie hits me like a slap. I look around the party, at my father leading another prayer circle, at my mother orchestrating the perfect photo opportunities, at Paisley soaking in the attention. Not one of them looks my way. Not one of them sees me slip through the gate. I walk away from my own house, still wearing the blue dress Mom insisted I wear to look presentable for the party. The dress that carefully hides my scar, the only proof I have that I wasn't reluctant, that I didn't hesitate, that I gave part of myself to save my sister. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. "Where are you? The photographer wants a family photo." I don't reply. Instead, I keep walking, each step taking me further from the fairy lights and closer to something else. Freedom, maybe, or just the space to breathe without someone else's narrative suffocating me. Another text. "Karen, stop being dramatic. Come back to the party." I turn off my phone. The street is quiet except for the distant sound of celebration floating from our backyard. I touch my side again, feeling the raised line of the incision through the thin fabric. This scar will fade eventually, but I know now that some wounds never will. A car passes, and I catch my reflection in its window. A ghost in a blue dress, invisible to her own family even while they celebrate the life she helped save. In that moment, standing alone on a suburban street while my family toasts my sister's miracle recovery, I make a decision. I won't be erased. I won't be rewritten. I won't be reluctant. That was 7 years ago. I haven't spoken to my family since that night. Sometimes people ask me if I regret walking away, if I miss them, if I ever think about reconciling. I always give them the same answer. I don't regret giving my kidney to save my sister's life. But I do regret letting them convince me that my sacrifice wasn't worth mentioning, that my pain wasn't worth acknowledging, that my story wasn't worth telling. Until now. "And that's why we need to set boundaries," I say into the microphone, scanning the packed auditorium. "Because sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones who raised us." A sea of nodding heads. Someone sniffles. These moments still surprise me. How many others carry similar wounds? "Thank you, Karen, for sharing your story," the moderator says. "Your book, The Silent Gift, has clearly touched many lives." The Q&A session runs long, as it always does. People line up to share their own stories of family trauma, of sacrifices unacknowledged, of healing. I sign books until my hand cramps, meeting each person's eyes, really seeing them. Maeve appears at my shoulder, phone in hand. "We need to wrap this up." "Just a few more," I say, but she shakes her head. "Karen, there's a situation. Your parents are at your house." The Sharpie slips from my fingers, leaving a black streak across the title page. "What?" "Security called. They're refusing to leave until they speak with you." My chest tightens. 7 years of silence, and now they show up at my door? Tell them I'm not available. They're saying it's about Paisley, that it's urgent. Of course it is. It's always about Paisley. 40 minutes later, I'm standing in my own driveway, watching my parents climb out of their Mercedes. Mom looks older, more fragile. Dad's hair has gone completely white. They feel like strangers wearing familiar faces. Karen? Mom steps forward, arms outstretched. I take a step back. Why are you here? Dad clears his throat. Can we go inside? This is a private matter. No. The word comes out sharp, definitive. Whatever you need to say it here. Mom's eyes dart around, probably checking if the neighbors are watching. Some habits never change. It's Paisley. The kidney. It's failing. The world doesn't stop. Birds keep singing. Traffic continues in the distance. I keep breathing. She needs another transplant? My voice sounds distant, even to me. No, Dad says quietly. It's more complicated. There's a new treatment, experimental. But it's expensive. Very expensive. And you need money. The pieces click into place. Not just money, Mom wrings her hands. Your influence, your platform. If you could speak about it, rally your followers. I laugh. I can't help it. The sound echoes off the houses, harsh and hollow. You want me to use my success, the career I built talking about healing from family trauma, to help the very people who caused that trauma? We're still your family, Dad says, despite everything. Despite everything? My voice rises. Despite telling everyone I was reluctant to donate. Despite making Paisley's recovery all about you. Despite never once acknowledging what I gave up? You're being dramatic again, Mom sighs. We thanked you. Paisley wrote you a lovely note. I turn on my heel, walk into the house. Behind me, I hear them calling my name, but I don't stop until I reach my office. The bottom drawer of my desk holds a box of memories I never look at. Inside, beneath old photos and hospital bracelets, is an envelope. The note inside is short, written on expensive stationery. Thanks for the kidney. Hope you feel better soon. P. Not even my sister's full name. No date. No real acknowledgement. Just 12 words that somehow managed to say nothing at all. I walk back outside where my parents are still waiting. How much does the treatment cost? Hope flickers across Mom's face. 2 million. But with your influence, we could fundraise. I have the money, I cut her off. I could write the check right now. Oh, Karen. Mom steps forward again. I knew you'd do the right thing. You've always had a good heart, despite... I said I could, not that I would. I hold up the note. This is all I ever got from Paisley. 12 words. 7 years of silence. And now you want me to save her again? She's your sister, Dad pleads. No, I say quietly. She's your daughter, the only one you ever really saw. I turn to go back inside. I'll think about it. That's all I can offer right now. But Paisley needs an answer soon, Mom calls out. I pause at the door. Then I guess for once, Paisley will have to wait for someone else's timeline instead of her own. I close the door on their protests, slide down against it until I'm sitting on the floor. My phone buzzes, Maeve checking in, but I can't answer yet. I'm too busy watching my hands shake, feeling the old scar throb beneath my shirt, and wondering if 7 years is long enough to learn how to be reluctant. The box of memories sits open on my coffee table like a wound. Old diaries, photographs, report cards, pieces of a life I tried to leave behind. My fingers trace the edge of a photo. 2 girls in matching Easter dresses. Paisley beaming, me squinting into the sun. My phone rings. Jacoby's name flashes on the screen. I saw your parents' Facebook post, he says without preamble, asking for prayers for Paisley. They work fast. I pull up Facebook on my laptop. There it is, a perfectly staged photo of Paisley in a hospital bed, looking tragically beautiful. Mom's caption reads, "Prayers for our darling Paisley. We miss our whole family being together." They're manipulative as ever, Jacoby says. You okay? Why did you really divorce her, Jacoby? The question's been burning since he left Paisley 3 years ago. The official story was growing apart, but he's quiet for a moment. Remember Tommy Martinez from high school? The boy who got expelled for stealing? Yeah. Paisley told me years later she was the one who took the money from the school fundraiser. She planted evidence in his locker because he'd turned her down for prom. My stomach lurches. I flip through my teenage diary, finding the entry. Mom grounded me for 2 weeks because she thinks I told people Paisley stole the money. I didn't say anything. Why doesn't anyone ever believe me? There's more, Jacoby continues. That promotion she got at work? She fabricated emails to make her competitor look incompetent. The car accident last year? She was texting but blamed the other driver. It's like she can't exist unless she's standing on someone else's ruins. I close my eyes, memories flooding back. When we were kids, she broke Mom's favorite vase, told them I did it because I was jealous of her ballet recital. I had to skip my friend's birthday party to learn responsibility. Classic Paisley. Jacoby sighs. Look, I'm not saying don't help her, but whatever you decide, know that nothing's changed. She's still the same person who let you take the fall, who minimized your sacrifice, who told everyone I was reluctant to donate. I finish. Yeah, I know. After hanging up, I dive deeper into the box. A newspaper clipping catches my eye. Local Teens Miracle Recovery. The article mentions my donation in one line, buried in the 6th paragraph. My phone pings with a text from Maeve. Have you seen their latest post? Another Facebook update. Our hearts ache for our daughters. One fighting for her life. One distant. Prayer warriors needed. The comments pour in. Praying for reconciliation. Family should stick together. Karen needs to forgive and forget. My hands shake as I pick up my old diary again. An entry from the day before the surgery catches my eye. Mom asked if I was sure about the donation. I said yes immediately. She looked disappointed, like she wanted me to hesitate. Later, I heard her on the phone with Aunt Sarah. Of course Karen's doing it. What kind of person would she be if she didn't? Another memory surfaces. Paisley's Sweet 16 party. I spent weeks helping Mom plan it, but when the day came, I had a fever of 102. Mom made me serve cake anyway. Don't ruin this for your sister, she'd whispered. Stop being so needy. I reach for my phone, scrolling through contacts until I find Brendan's number. We dated briefly before the surgery, before I disappeared from my old life. He's a journalist now, known for hard-hitting human interest stories. Karen? He sounds surprised. It's been years. I have a story for you, I say, about organ donation, family manipulation, and the cost of being erased. This is about the Facebook posts, isn't it? Your family's fundraising campaign? It's about much more than that. How do you feel about exposing toxic family dynamics to a national audience? He's quiet for a moment. You know this could get messy. It's been messy for 20 years. I'm just finally ready to clean it up. As if on cue, my phone buzzes with a text from Paisley. The first direct contact in 7 years. I know you're angry, but don't blow this out of proportion. You've always been sensitive. Mom and Dad are just trying to help me. Isn't that what family does? I stare at the message, feeling that familiar pressure to shrink, to accommodate, to disappear. But not this time. This time, I have receipts. This time, I have a voice. This time, I'm writing the story. Brendan, I say into the phone, how soon can you meet? Brendan hasn't changed much in 7 years. Same intense eyes, same habit of tapping his pen against his coffee cup when he's thinking. We're sitting in a private room at my publisher's office, surrounded by the evidence I've collected. This is thorough, he says, leafing through my documentation. Hospital records, diary entries, social media posts, emails. You've kept everything. When no one believes your truth, you learn to keep proof. He picks up Paisley's thank you note. 12 words. That's all you got? More than I got from my parents. I slide him a folder. Here's every public statement they've made about the transplant. Notice how they never mention me by name? It's always the donor or her sister. And now they want your money and influence. He shakes his head. How much are they trying to raise? 2 million, but that's not including the social media campaign they're running. I pull up their latest post, a throwback photo of Paisley and me as children, captioned, "Missing our girls together, prayer circle tonight at First Baptist." Brendan's pen taps faster. You want to expose them? Not directly. No names, no specific locations. Just enough details that anyone who knows will know. And anyone who's lived it will recognize their own story, he finishes. But Karen, this could backfire. Your family could sue for defamation. Let them try. Truth is the ultimate defense, remember? I gesture at the evidence. Everything here is documented. His phone buzzes. A news alert. He shows me the screen. Local church rallies around ailing daughter. Community unites in prayer and fundraising. They're going full force with the publicity, he observes. They always do. Paisley gets sick, everyone rallies, miracles happen. It's their favorite story. And you're the unnamed supporting character. Not this time. I pull out one last folder. These are statements from other organ donors. People who've been erased from their own sacrifice. People whose families took their gift and turned it into someone else's miracle. Brendan reads through them, his expression darkening. This is bigger than just your story. Exactly. That's why it needs to be told. He's quiet for a long moment, still tapping that pen. We'll need to be careful, strategic. The article can't come from me. I'm too easily connected to you. I know someone, I say. A freelancer who specializes in medical ethics stories. She's credible, independent, and willing to take on the potential backlash? For the right story, absolutely. My phone vibrates, a voice message from Paisley. I put it on speaker. Karen, Mom told me you're being difficult about helping with the treatment. I get that you're still holding on to old hurts, but this is literally my life we're talking about. Don't make this about your issues. You've always been so good at making everything about you. Brendan's pen stops tapping. Jesus. That's Paisley, I say quietly, always twisting the knife while playing the victim. We'll need to move fast, he says, before their fundraising campaign picks up more steam. I nod, pulling up my calendar. I have speaking engagements lined up for the next 3 months. Perfect platform for when this hits. You've really thought this through. 7 years of silence gives you time to plan. He starts gathering the documents. I'll contact the freelancer tonight, but Karen... He pauses. Are you ready for the fallout? This won't just expose them. It'll expose you too. All your pain, all your anger. I've been exposed my whole life, I say. The difference is, this time I'm choosing how and why. My phone buzzes again. A text from Mom. Prayer circle starting soon. Pastor Dave asked about you. Said sometimes pride keeps us from doing God's will. I show it to Brendan. See? They're already setting the narrative. Poor, proud Karen, too bitter to help her dying sister. Then let's tell the real story. He stands, clutching the folders. Not just about a kidney donation, but about the cost of being erased, the price of being the family scapegoat, and what happens when the person they stepped on finally stands up. As he leaves, I check my phone one last time. My parents have posted another update. Sometimes the hardest hearts need the most prayer. Join us in asking God to soften our daughter's spirit. I smile, thinking of the article being crafted, the truth finally taking shape. They want God to soften my heart? Too late. 7 years ago, they hardened it themselves. Now they get to see what that feels like. The silent price of sacrifice, when family trauma meets organ donation, goes live at 6 a.m. By 8 a.m., my phone won't stop buzzing. It's everywhere, Maeve says, bursting into my office. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, people are sharing it like crazy. I scan the article on my laptop. No names, as promised, but anyone who knows us will recognize the story. A young woman pressured to donate an organ to her golden child sister, only to be erased from the narrative afterward. The details are specific enough to ring true, vague enough to be legally safe. The comment section is exploding, Maeve continues. Other donors sharing similar stories. People calling out toxic family dynamics. It's hitting a nerve. My phone rings. Brendan. Your family's lawyer just contacted the publication. They're demanding to know the source. Let them wonder, I say. Everything in that article is documented. They're threatening legal action. For what? Telling the truth? A text from Hayden, my young assistant, pops up. Have you seen this? She's linked to a viral Twitter thread analyzing my parents' Facebook posts against the article's timeline. Someone's connected the dots. Your mother's online too, Maeve announces. Don't answer, I tell her. Let them sweat. My inbox fills with messages from other organ donors. This happened to me too. My family did the same thing. Thank you for giving us a voice. Then comes the email from my father. Karen, we know this article is your doing. How dare you air family business publicly? Your sister is fighting for her life while you play victim. If you ever had any love for this family, you'll help us get this taken down. Dad. I forward it to Brendan. More evidence. Holy shit, Maeve says, staring at her phone. Someone found your old high school newspaper. The article about Paisley's first recovery? They're comparing how you were barely mentioned to your current success. It's going viral. My phone buzzes again. A voice message from Paisley. What the hell do you think you're doing? Mom's having anxiety attacks. Dad's church friends are asking questions. Is this what you wanted? To hurt everyone. You always were jealous of the attention I got. Well, congratulations. You've got everyone's attention now. Maeve squeezes my shoulder. You okay? Better than okay. I pull up my email. Look at this one. It's from a young woman named Sarah. Your book helped me set boundaries with my toxic family. Now this article, you're showing us it's okay to tell our truth, even when it hurts, even when people call us selfish for it. Karen, Hayden rushes in. Your parents' fundraising page comments are flooded with people asking about the unnamed donor from the article. Some are withdrawing their donations. My phone lights up with a text from Jacoby. They're panicking. Paisley just called me trying to get dirt on you. Said she's going to tell everyone what you're really like. Let her, I say out loud. I've got receipts. Maeve's phone rings. It's their lawyer. They're sending a cease and desist. For what? I laugh. I didn't write the article. I haven't said a word publicly. They're claiming defamation by implication. Tell them to prove it. I stand up, walking to the window, and remind them that truth is an absolute defense. Another notification. Mom's posted again on Facebook. In times of crisis, families should unite, not divide. We pray for those whose hearts have hardened against their own blood. The comments aren't what she expected. Where was this energy for your donor daughter? Maybe if you'd acknowledged her sacrifice. Toxic parents always play the victim. Hayden appears at my side. Your speaking engagement requests have doubled. People want to hear about family trauma and healing. Book them, I tell her. All of them. My phone buzzes one last time, a message from an unknown number. I open it to find a photo. Teenage Paisley and me at her recovery party. I'm in that blue dress, standing alone by the wall while she holds court in her cushioned throne. The message reads, I was there that night. I saw you leave. I saw them not notice. Thank you for telling the truth. I save the photo. More evidence, more truth, more pieces of a story they can't control anymore. Maeve, I call out. Schedule a press conference. It's time to step into the light. You sure? I look at my phone. More messages, more shares, more people finding their voice through mine. They wanted attention on this story, I say. Let's give them exactly what they asked for. The security guard's voice crackles through my intercom. Ms. Karen, your parents are here again. They're insisting on seeing you. I glance at Maeve, who's already shaking her head. Let them up, I say. It's time. They look smaller somehow, standing in my office. Mom's makeup is smudged. She never lets that happen. Dad's collar is wrinkled. Their perfect facade is cracking. Paisley's getting worse, Mom says without preamble. The doctors say if we don't start treatment soon. Sit down, I tell them, gesturing to the chairs across from my desk. No lawyers, no press, no prayer circles, just us. We know you're behind that article, Dad says as they sit. It's causing serious problems with our fundraising efforts. The truth often does that. Mom leans forward. Karen, please. Whatever grievances you have, whatever hurt feelings. Hurt feelings? I pull out Paisley's 12-word note. This is what I got for giving up an organ. 12 words, not even a real thank you. You're being dramatic again. Mom sighs. We thanked you. When? At the recovery party where you told everyone I was reluctant? Or maybe during all those interviews where you never mentioned my name? We were protecting your privacy, Dad argues. You were protecting your narrative. I open my laptop, turning it to face them. I have every article, every social media post, every public statement you've made about Paisley's miracle recovery. Want to know how many times you acknowledged my role? 3. All in passing, all minimizing what I did. That was years ago. Mom waves her hand dismissively. Why can't you let it go? Because you're still doing it. I pull up their recent Facebook posts. Look at these. Pray for our daughter. Singular. God's plan for Paisley. You're still erasing me. We're trying to save your sister's life. Dad's voice rises. Is your pride worth more than that? My pride? I stand up slowly. I gave her my kidney without hesitation. I endured surgery, recovery, pain, all while watching you turn my sacrifice into her miracle. And now you want me to do it again? The treatment costs $2 million, Mom says quietly. You have that money. You have the influence to raise even more. You could save her. I could, I agree. But first, I want something from you. They exchange glances. What? The truth. Publicly. On the same social media where you've been painting me as the prodigal daughter, I want you to admit everything. How you pressured me, erased me, used me. That's ridiculous, Mom sputters. We can't. Then Paisley can't have my money. God forgave you, Dad says, pulling out his final weapon. Why can't you move on? The laugh that escapes me is cold, even to my own ears. I did move on. That's why I'm not the one dying. Mom gasps. Dad stands up. How dare you? No. How dare you? I cut him off. You come to my home, demand my money, try to manipulate me with guilt and God, and still can't acknowledge what you did. We did nothing wrong, Mom cries. We were trying to save our daughter. I was your daughter too. The words hang in the air between us. But you forgot that a long time ago. What do you want us to say? Dad asks, deflating. That we're sorry? Fine, we're sorry. Not to me. To everyone. The same audience you've been performing for all these years. Tell them the truth about the reluctant donor who wasn't reluctant at all. You're blackmailing us, Mom realizes. Your own sister's life for what? Public humiliation? For the truth. Something you've never been good at. They sit in silence, the weight of my ultimatum pressing down on them. Finally, Dad speaks. And if we do this, you'll help Paisley? I'll consider it. That's all you get right now. Consider it? Mom stands up, shaking. She could die while you're considering it. Then I suggest you start typing that Facebook post quickly. They leave without another word, but I know they'll do it. They have no choice. Paisley's life means more to them than their pride, just like it did 7 years ago when they used mine to save her. My phone buzzes, a message from Maeve. You okay? I touch my side, feeling the familiar scar through my shirt. I'm not the one who needs to be okay anymore. The truth is coming, and this time, I'm not the one who has to bleed for it. They're live, Maeve announces, turning up the volume on her tablet. My parents appear on the Facebook live stream, sitting stiffly on their familiar floral couch. Mom's wearing her best church dress. Dad's got his pastor face on. "We've come to make a confession," Dad begins, reading from what looks like a prepared statement. 7 years ago, our daughter Paisley received a life-saving kidney donation from her sister Karen. Mom dabs at her eyes with a tissue. We didn't handle it well. We minimized Karen's sacrifice. We let people believe she was reluctant when she wasn't. The comments start flooding in. Finally, the truth comes out. Where is Karen now? Karen volunteered immediately, Dad continues. She never hesitated. We were the ones who created that narrative, and we were wrong. I watch the viewer count climb. Thousands now. The story's spreading. "We're asking for Karen's help again," Mom says, her voice breaking. "And we understand why she's hesitant. This time, we're the reluctant ones. Reluctant to admit our mistakes, to face our failures as parents." My phone buzzes. "Brendan, you seeing this?" "Every word," I text back. The comments keep coming. "This explains that viral article. No wonder she left. Parents of the Year." I open my laptop and start typing. It's time for my response. "To those who've been following my family's story," I begin, posting on my professional page. "Yes, I was the unnamed donor in the recent viral article. Yes, those were my parents on Facebook Live just now. And yes, everything they said is true, though it took the threat of losing their golden child to admit it." Within minutes, my post explodes. The shares multiply. My inbox floods. Then comes Paisley's text. "Are you happy now? You've humiliated them. You've won. Will you help me now?" I don't respond. Instead, I post again. "To honor the truth finally being told, I'm announcing a $2 million donation, not to one person, but to establish the Forgotten Donors Foundation, supporting organ donors who've been erased from their own stories. Because every gift deserves acknowledgement. Every sacrifice deserves respect." My phone rings. Mom. I let it go to voicemail, then Dad, then Paisley. Maeve bursts in. "The foundation announcement is going viral. Major news outlets are picking it up. And look at this." She shows me her phone. Jacoby has posted screenshots of old text messages from Paisley. "Karen's always been so dramatic about the kidney thing. Like, we get it, you helped. Move on already. Such a martyr complex." The timestamps show these messages were sent just weeks after the surgery. My parents' Facebook Live comments section explodes with new outrage. Their carefully crafted confession crumbles under the weight of Paisley's own words. Another post from me. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm not even hurt. I'm just done being silent, done being erased, done watching others be erased. This foundation isn't about revenge, it's about recognition." The responses pour in. "You're an inspiration. Thank you for speaking up. Where can we donate to the foundation?" Then comes the final blow. A post from my niece, Paisley's daughter. "Mom always said Aunt Karen was jealous. Now I know the truth. She wasn't jealous. She was just done being invisible." My phone lights up with a voicemail from Mom. "How could you? We did what you asked. We humiliated ourselves. And now you're giving away the money that could save your sister? To strangers?" I save the message. More evidence. More truth. Maeve touches my shoulder. "The foundation website just launched. Donations are already coming in. People want to help." "Good," I say, standing up. Because this was never about the money. It was about the story. Who gets to tell it? Who gets to control it? Who gets to be seen? And now? I look at my phone. More messages, more shares, more truth spreading like wildfire. Now we help other donors tell their stories. We make sure no one else gets erased. A final text comes through from Paisley. "I hope you're satisfied. You've destroyed everything." "No," I type back. My first direct response in 7 years. I just stopped letting you destroy me. I turn off my phone and face the window, touching my scar through my shirt. Outside, reporters are gathering. They want statements, interviews, more details. This time, I won't be silent. This time, I won't be invisible. This time, I'm telling the story, not just mine, but every donor who's ever been erased. And this time, everyone's listening. The autumn wind whips around me as I stand outside my childhood home. The "for sale" sign creaks on its post. The house looks smaller than I remember. Dead leaves scatter across the lawn where we once posed for family photos, everyone arranged perfectly around Paisley. Aunt Karen? I turn to find my niece Emma standing at the gate. She's 17 now, tall and graceful like her mother, but there's something different in her eyes. Something clearer, more honest. I saw your car, she says. Mom's in the hospital again. They're trying alternative treatments. I know. The Forgotten Donors Foundation has been tracking cases like Paisley's. How are you holding up? She steps closer, hugging herself against the cold. Can we talk? Really talk? We walk to the old park down the street. The swing set where Paisley used to practice her gymnastics routines is rusty now. Mom was always jealous of you, Emma says suddenly, even before you got successful. She used to say you thought you were better than everyone else, but... She pauses. I found her old diaries last week. She wrote about how you were the smart one, the strong one, how she had to work twice as hard to keep everyone's attention on her. I let that sink in. All these years I thought I was the jealous one. The foundation helped another donor last week, I tell her. A woman who gave her liver to her brother. Her family threw a party for him and didn't even invite her. Like your recovery party. Emma's voice is quiet. Grandma finally told me about that night. How you left and no one noticed for hours. My phone buzzes. A text from Maeve. The Today Show wants you for their Women Making Change segment. Your book helped me, Emma continues. Not just the new one about the foundation, but the first one too. About setting boundaries, finding your voice. Is that why you moved in with your dad? She nods. Mom said I was betraying her, just like you did. But I wasn't betraying anyone. I was just choosing myself. Another buzz. Mom's number. I decline the call. They're saying the new treatment isn't working, Emma says. Mom keeps asking why you won't help, but that's not really the point, is it? What do you think the point is? She looks at me directly. That you already helped. That you gave enough. That maybe it's time for someone else to give for a change. My phone lights up again. A notification from the Foundation's app. Another donor has shared their story. Another voice refusing to be erased. I made a donation, Emma says suddenly, to the Foundation. Not much, just from my part-time job, but I wanted to help other people be seen. Something warm spreads in my chest, different from the anger and vindication of the past weeks. Pride, maybe, or hope. Want to see something? I pull up the Foundation's latest project on my phone, a documentary series about organ donors. We're telling their stories, all of them, the good and the bad, the acknowledged and the erased. Emma watches the trailer, her eyes widening. Is that why you came back here? For filming? No. I look back at the house. I came to say goodbye. To the person I was when I lived there. To the silence they taught me to keep. And to donate the house proceeds to the Foundation? I smile. She's sharp, this niece of mine. The money will help a lot of people find their voice. My phone buzzes one last time, a message from Jacoby. Paisley's asking for you, says she has something to say. Are you going to go? Emma asks, reading over my shoulder. No. I stand up from the swing. I'm done being an audience for other people's performances. What will you do instead? I show her the Foundation's upcoming events page. Speaking engagements, support groups, advocacy workshops. I'm going to keep helping people tell their stories, the real ones, not the pretty versions others want to hear. Emma hugs me suddenly, fiercely. I'm proud to be your niece, she whispers. Walking back to my car, I pass the for sale sign again. The house looks different now. Not smaller, just irrelevant. Like a stage set from a play I'm no longer performing in. They told the world I was reluctant. Now I finally am. Reluctant to forget, to forgive, and to disappear. But mostly, I'm reluctant to let anyone else disappear either. Because every story deserves to be told, every voice deserves to be heard, and every gift, whether given or withheld, deserves to be acknowledged. Even if some people don't want to hear it, especially then.